Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports an intense wildfire roared unchecked for a second day on Thursday through drought-desiccated timber in Northern California's Shasta Trinity National Forest, threatening scores of homes and forcing the closure of an interstate highway after motorists had to flee their vehicles. The Delta Fire erupted on Wednesday in a canyon along the Sacramento River about 250 miles north of San Francisco, and by Thursday morning had scorched more than 15,000 acres, triple the area that had burned some 12 hours earlier. The blaze was near where the deadly car fire incinerated hundreds of dwellings in and around the towns of Redding over the summer. That fire claimed 8 lives and became one of California's most destructive wildfires on record. No casualties have yet been reported from the Delta Fire, but there were some close calls. On Wednesday, the blaze raced across Interstate 5, forcing motorists to flee on foot before flames engulfed their cars and trucks. Flames posed an immediate threat to roughly 150 homes and other buildings in the sparsely populated region, with about 300 people under mandatory evacuation orders. Further north, an evacuation warning was in effect for some 1,600 residents to be ready to flee at a moment's notice. The Delta Fire was one of about 15 blazes burning across California this past week. 3 times as much ground has burned in California so far this year than at the same point in 2017, which ranks as one of the most destructive seasons on record. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A report confirms that many Iraqis are still holding a petty grudge about the U.S. invasion. An advanced alien civilization discovers an uninhabitable planet, and a single woman has a Facebook profile picture with her sister. This is the Onion Week in Review. A groundbreaking study published Monday in the Journal of the American Medical Association confirmed that it is impossible to lose weight. No one has ever done it, and those who are trying should give up immediately. Researchers said that findings conclusively prove that shedding excess weight has never happened, changing your physical appearance is impossible, and that all sorts of exercises, personal training regimens, and diets will never, ever work.
Well, our test results conclusively prove that if you're going to the gym to lose weight, you will fail. You could work out every day and eat nothing and you still wouldn't lose an ounce. Skinny people will stay skinny, overweight people will be overweight. It's just how it is.
In other news, an area man is outraged his private information is being collected by someone other than advertisers. And a crowd cheers as this 93-year-old fuck-up finally graduates from college.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You may dial toll free here and take control of the airwaves. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got our Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. And that allows you to get on the air with us and sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio. With you in this very studio, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
So lots of stuff tonight to talk about. Apparently, Obama coming out and speaking on the topic of Trump. Darryl, you want to cover that story. Plus, Chris, you've got an update, actually. Maybe we should start with this update on a story that we covered, I think, a few years, several maybe years ago at this point. Sony.
Yeah, it was probably a couple of years ago.
It feels like more than 2 years. Sony got hacked, and they dumped out a bunch of movies. Like the hackers, stole movies and like actual full-on copies of movies, I think before they were even released, if I recall correctly. And
I think that was...
Wasn't there multiple stories? Like, didn't their PlayStation Network also get hacked?
That was another hack they got hit with. Yeah,
like all of Sony Entertainment.
Yeah, like it was a major hack.
Well, that may have been
from
two
North Korea.
different... That may have been two different groups, but now you're saying you've got an update on that it's allegedly was North Korea doing one of those hacks. I don't know if they were both the same.
That's what they said at the time.
Is that right?
Because there was that movie that came out, The Interview, where
about
they made fun of Kim Jong-un, and the allegation was Kim Jong-un and his cronies or something.
He threatened to do something about it too. Like
hacked Sony.
Didn't they threaten to bomb movie theaters or something?
I don't remember.
That's what the American media reported, but who knows what the North Korean leader actually wound up saying.
Yeah, I don't know if that was actually...
I wasn't there. I don't speak Korean.
I think the story was something along the lines of the North Korea... They threatened They threatened. They made threats, but I'm not sure if the bombing threat was a direct thing that came from their mouths. It was more like something on the sides, like a hacking group or something like that.
Okay, so quick history check here, since all of our memories are somewhat faulty.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Sony Pictures hack is different from the PlayStation hack. The Sony Pictures hack happened November 24th, 2014. Where a hacker group identifying itself as Guardians of Peace leaked a release of confidential data from the film studio. Compare that to 2011, which was when the PlayStation Network hack happened, and they were out for 23 days, affecting personally identifiable information from 73 million accounts on the Sony PlayStation Network. So it's been not quite a decade since the PlayStation Network hack. Good 7 or 8 years, but it's been about several years, so 4 years approximately since the Sony Pictures hack. So probably not the same hacking group.
Possibly misattributing then.
So this is the one about Sony Pictures? What's the story?
Yeah,
Where's it coming from?
That's a good question. So this is coming from the Washington Post, and the title is U.S. charges North Korean operative in conspiracy to hack Sony Pictures. Banks.
Sony Pictures. Okay.
So the Justice Department announced charges on Thursday against an alleged hacker for the North Korean government in connection with a series of major cyber attacks, including the 2014 assault on Sony Pictures Entertainment, marking the first time the United States has brought such charges against a I don't know how to pronounce the city. Pyongyang. Yeah, operative. I'm never gonna get that. Let's see. Park Hayek, officials said, is accused of being part of a conspiracy to hack on behalf of. Oh, okay. So it's not. He's not actually in North Korea. Maybe
he's an agent outside of North Korea.
Sounds like it. Conspiracy on behalf of North Korea's Reconnaissance General Bureau, RGB, the military intelligence agency that controls most of the country's cyber capabilities. Oh, maybe he is in North Korea then. I don't know. He and other.
Well, I wonder how they identified him. If he's actually in North Korea, it would seem to be harder to identify him.
You would think. He and other unidentified operatives are accused of being members of the Lazarus group, that's a famous group, which also has been implicated in the audacious attempt to steal $1 billion from the Bangladesh Bank in 2016 and to the WannaCry 2.0 virus that affected more than 230,000 computers in 150 countries last year.
How do you spell the name of the group? I'm just curious.
So it's Lazarus.
The Lazarus group.
Okay. Yeah, Lazarus. And it's basically they've been hacking into banks all over the world.
Wow.
From if my memory serves me correctly. And so they used to I believe North Korea used to make like really super amazing like bills, US currency, counterfeit bills, and I guess they stopped doing that. And they were basically impossible to identify or distinguish between the real and fakes, and they were called super notes. And I think this is kind of where they went instead of that, is basically hacking into banks and transferring money. And if things are timed right, it can be done. And it's kind of this is something I bring up all the time with cryptocurrency, because people say, oh, cryptocurrency gets hacked. Well, banks get hacked to a tune of a lot of money, and it's been happening more and more in the past couple of years.
But the cryptocurrencies themselves aren't getting hacked. It's exchanges that are getting hacked.
Right, and that's true. And in the same sense, these banks are being hacked in the same way as your traditional banks. It's poor security. So somebody who has decent security is not going to be they're not going to fall victim to this sort of thing, or they're less likely anyway.
According to, by the way, Wikipedia here, it says under other investigations, because the depth and scope of malware tools structured of the analyzed code bases, TTP overlap with similar attacks and a long trail of activities attributed to the Lazarus group.
Right.
One analyst does not believe that the SPE attack, Sony Pictures Entertainment attack, was carried out by insiders or hacktivists, but rather by a more structured, resourced, and motivated organization. Although our analysis cannot support direct attribution of a nation state or other specific group due to the difficulty of proper attribution in the cyber realm, the FBI's official attribution claims could be supported by our findings. So So somebody's pointing a finger at North Korea, and obviously I want to know what's the evidence, and I'm sure they don't go over it in this story.
And there's something else to remember. A lot of times that when they're making these security research, and I like to put that in quotes, they're making attributions based off IP addresses that they don't actually know where where it's.
Right, what if it's coming out of
from.
a Tor exit node?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just that, but they're also using similarities in code and things like that. So the problem with this is that the sources end up going to different criminal entities. So there's multiple entities potentially using the same code base. So it's not always so clear cut that just
and when you
because
say
there's
code base,
similarities,
this is the hacking code that was used?
Yeah, the exploits that they're using in order to break into banks.
Right.
Malware.
So like if you know that, hey, this tool works, you're going to use that tool.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. So yeah, they're attributing it to North Korea, but at the same time, some of that code has, and I believe this actually has occurred with some of the code that North Korea is using, where North Korea developed code, or no, actually I'm thinking of the U.S. With one of them, U.S. and Israel, I believe, developed some code, and that code got leaked, and now all sorts of criminal groups are using that code.
It's so hard to believe that North Korea can do this stuff, right? Like, whenever you see the news about North Korea, they just seem to be stuck in the 1950s. Whenever you see video from North Korea, they literally are stuck in the 1950s as far as their development is concerned. They're using vehicles, buses, that are circa decades old. They haven't had new ones in decades. They've just been trying to cannibalize parts and make these old buses continue to run. The way the place looks like it was frozen in time when there was, I forget if it was PBS or Vice, but one of those two organizations did a documentary where they went into a classroom in which they were supposed to be like a computer class and showing people using computers, but the people who were using the computers were clearly, they didn't know what they were doing. There was one person who was just kind of moving their mouse around.
Well,
they weren't actually doing anything on the screen.
Yeah.
This is propaganda. This is, they're both sides are giving you propaganda. Both the South Koreans, both the U.S., both North Korea. Everybody's giving you propaganda.
But it makes me right. So you don't know what the truth is.
Right.
So
exactly.
is the truth that North Korea is this completely incompetent hermit state that has no access to technology whatsoever?
They're more capable than you think, I think.
Or is there a secret hack group within North Korea that is balls to the wall, some of the best hackers in the world? There's more coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform and generate income from them. This will allow Horizon to bring thousands of real-life services to the community, services that provide freedom, utility, and privacy. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community, HORIZEN.global.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom, 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Go to discord.lrn.fm, and you can jump into one of those, get on the air with us, sound like you're sitting here in the studio. We're talking about the alleged North Korean hack against Sony Pictures Entertainment. At least that's what the federal government is claiming happened. Now, of course, as you pointed out, Chris, we're talking about propaganda coming from all sides here. North Korea has propaganda. Oh, yeah. The United States has propaganda. What's the real story here? We can continue with a little bit more on this, and your analysis and thoughts certainly welcome. But I do want you to know about Zencash. Oh, wait, no, it's called Horizon now. They've rebranded to Horizon. It's still called Zen, the crypto aspect of Horizon. But Horizon was rebranded to that because it's a larger vision than just cryptocurrency. It's a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. It also means that you can chat privately with other people. They've had that for a little while now with Horizon, and soon Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Now, I don't know how they're going to accomplish that last part, but I'm interested to find out how, because, we were just talking about the Tor browser a few moments ago, wondering whether or not, North Korea was hacking through, or whoever the hackers were hacking through the Tor network, which is kind of like the longest running, most well-known privacy mechanism for the internet.
They probably weren't, but they have other similar tools.
But this makes me wonder, what's Zen going to bring to the table that is going to, allow going anywhere on the web with complete privacy? Because that sounds really intriguing.
I'm wondering, and this is just pure speculation,
that's all we can do here.
There's some kind of way, and Chris, you might know the answer to this, some kind of way to run something like a VPN through the blockchain?
I don't know. Or maybe not even through the blockchain. Maybe it's just something that the nodes perform. Maybe it's some sort of task that doesn't involve writing things to a blockchain.
I'm not quite sure how that would work, or like what
my question isn't how would it work. My question is it possible?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, a lot of things are possible that we don't necessarily know how it's going to work.
Right, but he's the computer guy. He could tell us if it's possible.
He's a privacy geek too. On top
what
of
is
that,
what is a blockchain? It's a ledger. So
it's a ledger.
It's not
I don't know if it has to do with the blockchain, Darryl. It may have something to do with something else that they come up with. Because, again, they're running these secure nodes and the super nodes, which they have like 16,000 of across the world, which makes Zencash ostensibly one of the strongest, if not the strongest, cryptocurrency network out there. So who knows what other kind of services they can just kind of build into this decentralized network. I mean, I wonder how many Tor nodes there are on the Tor system as compared
I think it's like 6,000.
6,000, which would mean that they have more nodes on their secure node system than Tor does on their network.
It would be interesting to have all of those come online as some sort of anonymous routing network.
Sure would. So again, we're speculating.
Yeah.
We don't know what they've got planned, but we do know that behind Horizon is a team of really good libertarian, voluntarist, liberty-loving people. So they're completely on board with the philosophy of what we talk about.
And don't they already have some sort of messaging built into it?
Yes.
So
they've had that.
And I think that is somehow built around the blockchain. Yeah. So small messages, it might sort of work for larger amounts of data, probably.
Correct. Because, again, you have to pay to send those messages at some levels. Very small amounts, I imagine. But Horizon.global, you can learn more there. Horizon is bringing privacy to life. And, of course, as we know more about these new features, we're going to let you know.
Yes.
HORIZEN.global. So back to the story here. The Sony Pictures Entertainment attack, which happened back in 2014, where Sony got their servers hacked into and, like, a lot of stuff got released, if I recall correctly, like movies that hadn't yet even been officially released, that kind of thing.
This article is actually attributing, I think, both of those attacks, both the PlayStation attack and the...
PlayStation? Even though that goes all the way back to 2011?
Yeah, they're attributing a bunch of stuff to North Korea and all sorts of banks and other stuff. I mean, it's a kind of a long article here that I got, so I don't know if we want to go into it. But
if you want to tell us a little bit more, please go,
let's,
go right ahead.
So Park 34 is a computer programmer.
Park is the alleged hacker.
Right, he's the alleged hacker. Programmer educated at a North Korean university who, since at least 2002, conducted cyber operations through Chosun Expo on behalf of Lab 110 or Bureau 110, one of the government's hacking organizations, the complaint states. He worked Dalian near the North Korea border between 2011 and 2013, returning to North Korea by 2014 before the cyber attack on Sony, officials said.
So it
sounds like he's in North Korea.
Allegedly was in North Korea.
Well, no, it was in China, and now he's in North Korea again.
Right. But they said before the attack happened, he went back to North Korea.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So it certainly sounds to me like.
So they're never going to get their
man.
They're
not going to get the guy. I mean, and if I reading into the story, I won't actually read it here, but they also were talking about how it wasn't just North Korea doing the hacking, but there's actually been Chinese also that have been involved in hacking similar
separately.
Some of them.
Tell us more. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, let me see here if I can. Where does it say that?
Do you recall the source of the story again? I forgot.
Yeah, so this is the Washington Post.
Washington Post.
Yeah, and I just pulled up the article, and they do mention that this was carried out, quote, as a false flag operation by a group calling itself Guardians of Peace.
Which was supposed to be a front group for the actual...
So this story kind of contradicts what the other gentleman expert that you were quoting earlier was saying. So there's not a clear, there's no definite proof here either way. This
all you've got is the government saying
this is basically propaganda.
Here's a picture of a North Korean
for
guy
the U.S. government.
Right.
We're saying that he did this.
Right, and this article does mention that the attack or the hack or whatever was allegedly launched in retaliation for the planned release of the satirical movie The Interview, which I did recall that.
Yep.
Where I forget who the two comedians were that allegedly, like in the movie, they interview Kim Jong-un, and apparently the North Koreans were upset about, you're making fun of dear leader.
So, according to the internet, there aren't very many IP addresses in North Korea. So there's only 1,024. As of 2014, there were only 1,024 IP addresses in North Korea. So there are
how many is it saying there were?
In 2014, there were 1,024.
Now, I wonder how many Chinese IP addresses North Korea uses. because
Well,
nothing
it's a good
says they
question,
have to
They
use
could bounce over somewhere else.
Right. Their own IP addresses.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting to point out that this is one disconnected country.
No question about it.
There is almost nothing as far as IP addresses. And I remember reading another article, and I didn't pull up this factoid right now, but in a different story, I think there's only like a few dozen websites that exist in North Korea.
Yeah.
Because, of course, they're all state-run.
Right, and there is a website that purports to show the list of here's all the websites that North Koreans can access.
Right. If they could get online, which of course
Right.
most of them can't. So the only kind of North Korean who can access anything, including their own internal country's websites, are likely a very limited list of people within that country.
Yes.
More coming up here in moments. People likely connected to Kim Jong-un and the communist government there. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Bring up what you want.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Free Talk Live.
I cannot imagine anyone ever calling a cigarette interdiction hotline.
That'd be great.
What would that conversation be like?
Well, I'm calling because I can't stop smoking.
Sir, do you have a cigarette right now?
Well, yes.
Is it lit?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you have an ashtray?
Yes.
Okay, you know when you're done with your cigarette and you put it out?
Uh-huh.
Okay, try that right now.
But it's not...
Go ahead and do that same motion.
I can you imagine the conversations?
What the hell could they possibly
Is it 24 hours?
I just don't get
Just
it.
someone called him. I can't do it.
It's dumb.
I smoked the whole pack of cigarettes.
I only get motivated at 3 a.m. Help me out. There's nobody there?
I've smoked all my money away, and now my wife's left me, and she took the dog and the kids. I got no money left. I've smoked it all.
I was breaking into my neighbors' houses and pawning their TVs for more cigarettes.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want. Just dial on in here toll free. Our number is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733. And we also have Discord. The Discord on-air call-in line rooms are available for you over at discord.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com is where you can go to learn about cryptocurrency, the one that started it all, Bitcoin, which of course has now become competing Bitcoins, which you'll learn about when you go over to Bitcoin.com. They've got the Bitcoin Academy there and other great features like the news site, which is loaded up with headlines from across the world about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So once again, get started over at Bitcoin.com. So we were talking about the story about North Korea allegedly being behind the Sony Pictures attack. Now the federal government bringing out the news, I guess today. This seemed like it was a pretty fresh story. I saw it in a few different places, but the news hitting within the last 24 hours.
Yesterday, so this story from Washington Post, 6:53 p.m. last night.
Yeah, so pretty fresh. This has happened. They've charged a North Korean man with allegedly hacking Sony Pictures, ostensibly on behalf of the North Korean government. And interesting timing, considering it made me wonder, as I said off the air, well, I want to see what's the latest on North Korea ending the war with South Korea, because it was a few months ago, I think it was in late April, that Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un had a meeting. I know they talked about having a meeting, and then
the meeting
it was
in
June. So they had a meeting, this historic meeting.
Pompeo's had a couple of meetings
before
with
and after.
Kim.
Yeah. And so it was this historic meeting because no American president in the history of North Korea's current, being North Korea, has ever met with a North Korean dictator.
In North Korea or overseas, because they may have...
Did it happen?
They may have exchanged formalities at a UN meeting.
Really? Okay.
May have.
So this is the first time they've ever sat down.
It's the first time there's been official meetings.
One-on-one kind of things. And there is news, actually, about that has come out within the last couple days. According to Reuters and several other sources out of Seoul and D.C., North Korea's Kim Jong-un has given his first timeline for denuclearization, aiming for the end of U.S. President Donald Trump's first term, Seoul officials said on Thursday, prompting thanks from Trump, who said they would, quote, get it done together. So, of course, I wanted to see what Trump's full quote was. So I went to his Twitter account, @RealDonaldTrump, September 6th.
Because he posts everything on Twitter.
He does, which makes him a little more interesting, I think, than his predecessors. Kim Jong-un, he writes, of North Korea proclaims, quote, unwavering faith in President Trump, unquote. Now, obviously, that quote is also taken out of context, so I don't know exactly, we don't know what Kim Jong-un said there, but he then Trump goes on to say, thank you to Chairman Kim, we will get it done together. And he doesn't provide any kind of links or anything like that, just sort of this tweet out in the middle of nowhere where, again, Kim Jong-un claiming to have unwavering faith in President Trump. If that's what Kim Jong-un actually said, then talk about a sea change in attitude, right? Because you've got North Korea, which for so long has been saber-rattling against the United States, has been blaming the United States for all of their problems, including power outages in the middle of the night.
Right.
The United States has been the enemy, the sworn enemy of the North Korean government for a long time, and vice versa. And the North Korean government has been, Bush's part of his axis of evil back in the aughts. So there's been this complete turnaround when it comes to the way Kim Jong-un has been handling his relationship with the United States. And it's very interesting to watch this happen. Let me go on here with the story from Reuters. Trump told reporters on Air Force One, quote, I know that a letter is being delivered to me, a personal letter from Kim Jong-un to me. It was handed at the border yesterday. Trump told reporters on Air Force One. It's being delivered, he said. It's actually an elegant way, and I think it's going to be a positive letter, unquote. The two leaders, and I hate that term for politicians, but the media loves to use it, have traded correspondence as they negotiate over North Korea's nuclear program, and Trump has also praised Kim on social media. On Thursday, Trump thanked him for having unwavering faith. Trump's latest remarks came after South Korean officials said after meeting Kim in Pyongyang this week that the North Korean leader had given his first timeline for denuclearization in spite of widespread skepticism about his willingness to give up a nuclear weapons program that threatens the United States. Now, of course, the statement that was made previously was that that Kim would give up the program in return for a promise of protection from the United States.
So wait a minute. I'm just thinking about this. Didn't this happen under Clinton as well?
No. Did what happen? The meat?
No, not the meat. I'm talking about the denuclearization. Didn't in exchange they make some promises for like oil or something?
I don't recall anything like that. You may be right, but I don't. I
feel like I feel like we're doing this. The whole thing is just happening again.
History.com has a story. Bill Clinton once struck a nuclear deal with North Korea.
There you go.
Bill Clinton took a podium October 18th, 1994, with a speech that reads like a sigh of relief. The announcement of a landmark nuclear agreement between the U.S. and North Korea. Quote, the agreement is good for the United States, good for our allies, and good for the safety of the entire world, he assured the nation.
Well, when this one happened more recently, I think that these were referenced. It may not have been the only thing in history as well, where North Korea has made some sort of motion of intending to do something, but ultimately never actually doing it.
It's political maneuvering is what it is, from what I understand.
So this says that the North Koreans would put the brakes on their nuclear program, and like it doesn't sound as though they actually were going to completely get rid of their nuclear weapons. Just we're not going to develop it any further.
Which is the kind of political, language you would expect from politicians. Say one thing and mean another.
I mean, they got what they wanted from the deal, and then they continued on.
I still think it's rather ironic that the only government that has ever actually used a nuclear weapon in war feels as though they have the moral high ground to tell which countries can and can't have nuclear weapons.
And the best part of that is we still have nuclear weapons.
I know.
And we're not willing to give them up. So it's like, why? Yeah, it's...
The U.S. government pretends to have the high ground, but they don't.
And we have either number one or number two in terms of quantity, which dwarfs like every other country.
Yeah. So it's interesting to watch this. So let's talk about some of the differences, right? In the past, North Korea, as you pointed out, has made overtures towards, well, we will denuclearize, and then they don't actually do anything. In this case, they have shut down one nuclear weapons testing site. Now, the counter-argument was, well, they were going to shut that down anyway. It was kind of broken. Also, they stopped airing the propaganda broadcasts on loudspeakers that were being pointed at the border, the demilitarized zone. They stopped doing that. They released prisoners of war they were holding on to the United States. So they have made these, and I think I'm leaving something else out. Oh yeah, they took they put their time zone back on South Korea's time zone. So
and then there were the meetings earlier this year around the same time of the Olympics, where the North Korean and South Korean delegations wound up meeting, and the athletes competed on a joint Korean team in the Olympics for the first time ever.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
that's where the whole thing started.
That's interesting.
The whole recent change.
And then Kim Jong-un has said that he wants an actual end to the Korean War.
That's correct. He did say that.
There's been this ceasefire for, 65 years?
Yeah, 60 years.
Well,
let's actually end the war.
It seems like it would not be in their interests to ending, or at least getting rid of their nuclear weapons. If you look at what happened with Iraq.
Well, no, because you can't trust the United States.
Right, exactly.
You can't trust the United States government to do what they're going to say.
Right, well, there's the theory that some people have that as soon as North Korea gets rid of their nuclear weapons, the U.S. government's going to go in, invade, and kill everybody in North Korea.
Certainly would be a concern for me.
I don't buy it. I mean, but obviously Kim Jong-un doesn't buy that either because he's making these moves towards getting rid of the nuclear weapons. There's more coming up here in moments. You can take control of the airwaves. Share your thoughts.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dinovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dinovite.
Dinovite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops. Get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dinovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
Long-distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
Get relief for your neck or back pain when you search Amazon for Sunshine Pillows, heating wraps, and pads, often listed as an Amazon choice.
Why take another pill?
Now, from Sunny Bay and by customer demand, we introduce our extra long neck heating wrap, a complete wrap, wide and hands-free, and brings fast relief to those who suffer from neck or back pain.
You can easily find Sunshine Pillows on Amazon.
Or search Amazon for our new Sunny Bay disposable heat pads. Or look for Sunny Bay heated neck wraps for relief from back pain to menstrual pain and cramps.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck, or back, or shoulder.
See why our company, Biomed DB Design, has a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy. Just go to Amazon.com and search Sunny Bay, or call us 253-678-1361.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable! Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster. So be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up whatever you want here. Our number 855-450-FREE. We're talking about the latest developments out of the North Korea, South Korea, ending the war possibly. Denuclearization is on the table. In fact, Kim Jong-un apparently has already come up with his timeline for denuclearizing the North Korean country by the end of Donald Trump's first term. And so we can tell you more about that coming up here. Your calls, your thoughts certainly are welcome. If it happens, it will be amazing. If we also see an official end to the Korean War, that will also be an incredible accomplishment. If this happens, Donald Trump, he probably deserves credit for helping facilitate this, don't you think?
But what's the incentive for them to do, denuclearization? I mean, the only thing I can think of is China is basically changed their attitude towards
Kim Jong.
Well, hold on. I've got couple of really good reasons. Doing so would, in theory, end all of the trade embargoes against North Korea, which would then wind up helping the North Korean people be able to actually eat instead of, going on some kind of Maduro diet in North Korea.
I mean,
here's your 3 grains of rice.
Okay, sure.
I want to back him up on this. And all we know is what we hear, right? So we only know what we hear from the North Korean government. We know what we hear from the escapees, the people who have escaped from that particular prison country. But what we know about Kim Jong-un is that he went to school outside of North Korea.
Yes.
Didn't he go to school in the United States?
No.
Frankia.
He went in, what was it?
Frankia. France.
Oh, was it? I thought it was Sweden for some reason. But it was in Europe at the very least. That we can agree on. But he went to school outside of North Korea, which means that he experienced a completely different world, right? You have to think about what it's like to be a North Korean person in general. Even in the government of North Korea, there probably are only so many government officials who have the ability to travel. And so there's some people that kind of know what it's like outside of North Korea, but for the most part, they're called the Hermit Kingdom because they're shut off from the rest of the world. You've got Kim Il-sung, who is the grandfather of Kim Jong-un. You've got Kim Jong-il, who is his father, and now Kim Jong-un. These are the 3 rulers that North Korea has seen since North Korea was formed back during the Korean War and when Japan, I guess it was Japan actually that split them up way back when. But Kim Jong-il probably got out a little bit here and there because he was in charge of the country, could leave if he wanted. But Kim Jong-un spent time outside of North Korea. He spent time interacting with whoever it is his fellow students were at the college that he went to. He
University of Lyon
has to know at some level the level of poverty that exists in his country.
Oh, of course.
And certainly as the so-called leader or supreme dictator or supreme ruler or whatever his title is, it's supreme something or other.
3rd supreme leader of North Korea.
Supreme leader.
The chairman of the Workers' Party of Korea, the chairman of the State Affairs Commission.
In that role, obviously he's well taken care of. He's well fed. You can tell just by looking at him. He's going to be living in a nice house. He's fine. He's not starving. He's doing fine. However, even a wealthy person can be more wealthy, right? So if you look at, for instance, a poor person today in the United States and compare that to a rich person in the United States 150 years ago, you're going to see that the poor person today has far more wealth at their fingertips than does a rich person in a lot of ways from 150 years ago.
Much better standard of living.
They've got much better standard of living. They've got in simple things like sanitation. They've got air conditioning. They've got heating. They've got multiple televisions, smartphones. There's so many different things that poor
people... A much
people,
faster mode of transportation than a horse and buggy.
Correct. Now, they may not have a household full of servants or whatever to wait on them hand and foot, but many of those tasks are completely superfluous today. They've been replaced by technology anyway. So the amount of wealth that a wealthy person has today compared to a wealthy person 150 years ago is, of course, staggering.
Yes.
So even though Kim Jong-un is, by all standards in North Korea, probably the wealthiest man in North Korea, it still doesn't mean much in the scheme of wealth on the world scale, right? And so if he can actually successfully do what Darryl says, denuclearize, and then result in actually having the North Korean people being able to trade actually having some level of being able to interact with the world, bring wealth in, sell products out, to create things and sell them to the rest of the world. This we all take for granted for the most part, even though there's stupid regulations and tariffs here in the United States.
Right.
You still have the ability to create and ship things and all that. So that would increase the wealth in North Korea, and by proxy would increase the wealth of Kim Jong-un if he's allowed to stay as the dictator in North Korea, and not what some have speculated would happen, which would be that the U.S. would come in and raid the place and take him down.
So, I mean, I think there's a few flaws here with that line of thinking. One, look at how much they've put into nuclear, investing in nuclear weapons and their army. I mean, this country, the people in charge are clearly afraid of, the situation. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Why change that,
it seems like a politically unwise decision to change that. Second, while we call it
it's risky.
While we call it the Hermit Kingdom, North Korea actually has a lot of people that they send out of country intentionally to bring in U.S. dollars to the country in order to be able to trade with. And the way they do this is they basically say...
Trade with who? China?
Other countries. China, other countries, yeah.
I mean, there's high restrictions on who they can trade with.
Yes, but obviously those restrictions, how do I say this? There's ways around them, and they need U.S. dollars to basically make those deals.
The ways around them are the land border with China and the small one with Russia.
There's not a whole lot of ways around them. I mean, you're talking about black market smuggling compared to open market trade or market trade, and there's a huge gulf.
Nonetheless, what they do is they take families, and they send some of their family members outside the country to work in China and raise funds, and then that money gets sent back to North Korea, and obviously North Korean government gets that money.
But what do they do with it then?
And the reason people they buy all sorts of North Korea is the U.S. doesn't even manufacture everything, right? So neither is North Korea. So North Korea has to buy stuff in order to produce nuclear weapons.
North Korea can't make jack squat basically because they're communists.
They can make some stuff, and they do
have no wealth.
It was certainly resource extraction. They're good at making tunnels, coal mining. I know you laugh, but
salt mines.
They really do. I mean, these are valuable things that other people in the world market will buy from North Korea. And there are these other aspects to it.
They were starving in the 1990s, right?
Yeah, I mean, part of that was because of socialism and failed.
That's all of what it was. I mean, it was a completely failed system that had no way of.
Part of that was because of how much they were spending on their military. I mean, they spend way more than anybody else probably in the world as a proportion of, GDP on their military. So, and this is presumably to prop up the regime and make sure these people stay in power. So it seems more likely that they're gonna stick to their tradition of
you think they're going to renege?
Manipulation, and
are they going to renege on the agreement?
Whether
and
or not
denuclearize?
The question is, did they get what they wanted from developing nuclear weapons? Obviously, if they get rid of their nuclear weapons, they're not getting rid of the knowledge and the know-how to start the program back up if they need to.
That's true.
So it may be possibly in their advantage to go ahead and actually do it. But at the same time, I suspect that there's still probably, an incentive to at least maintain the knowledge and know-how and ability to
of course, the speculation will be that they are going to continue running a nuclear weapons program, but a more secret version, inside a mountain,
like they've done before.
That,
I mean, this isn't the first time they've restarted their nuclear programs after shutting down or partially shutting them down.
Well, obviously, this is going to require international verification, right? They're going to bring in, is it the IAEA? I forget what the organization
Well, that's why they call it a secret, right?
Right. So they're going to inspect all the known sites, obviously, but they could clearly have another secret operation going on somewhere, and that will always be the speculation. Even if all the known sites are shown to have been shut down and decommissioned or whatever, there'll still be the people who will not believe it, and rightly so.
Just like how the Iranians, they pass with flying colors whenever the inspectors go through, but there are people in the United States that want you to believe that they violated every provision of the agreement. Do you know what country violated the agreement? The United States government
sure, of course.
violated the P5+1 Iranian agreement.
We got more coming up here on the denuclearization. Chris is skeptical, and I think it's important to be skeptical of governments because they tell lies.
I'm skeptical that the U.S. government will actually abide by anything.
On their side, yeah.
I doubt either of them will.
Reasonable skepticism here. More coming up here. Free Talk Live.
Let's talk tough. Let's talk comfort. Let's talk about down-home value. Made in the USA blue jeans, like you wore as a kid. Remember?
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They show pride in every stitch. Guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
For good old-fashioned comfort, get Diamond Gusset jeans. Every stitch guaranteed. And our Defender motorcycle jean comes Kevlar reinforced. See them at GUSSET.com, that's gusset.com, or call 888-848-7738. That's 888-848-7738. Diamond Gusset jeans got it, others don't.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,197 per ounce. Zen is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,441. Antiwar.com reports a day after reiterating his commitment to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has set out a timeline for the process, saying he intends to get the process done by the end of President Trump's first term in office. Kim committed to a denuclearization earlier this year at a summit with South Korea, and a new inter-Korean summit is coming up in mid-September. The next summit is intended to focus on practical measures to advance the process. North Korea is keen to have a peace treaty ending the Korean War as part of this process. The Korean War began in 1950, and the U.S. has been resisting efforts to negotiate a peace treaty, saying the deal needs to wait until after denuclearization. While this has fueled a lot of suspicion, it's also likely a part of Kim's interest in getting the process done before Trump's term ends, as a number of Trump's critics are opposed to diplomacy with North Korea in general and might not be interested in a peace treaty at all, even after North Korea has given up their nuclear program, with a lot of U.S. critics having more or less treated North Korea diplomacy as a dead process, especially after President Trump forbade Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's last visit. Kim seems to clearly hope between his announcements and the next South Korean summit to get the momentum back. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms signed an executive order on Thursday that will prevent U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement from holding detainees in the city's jail. The executive order also required that all detainees currently in the Atlanta City Detention Center be transferred out of the facility. Bottoms told reporters Atlanta will no longer be complicit in a policy that intentionally inflicts misery on a vulnerable population without giving any thought to the horrific fallout. As the birthplace of the civil rights movement, we are called to be better than this. It's not yet clear where the detainees will be moved. ICE has 3 other detention facilities in the state of Georgia. The executive order from Bottoms comes after she signed another one in June that prohibits the jail from accepting new ICE detainees. Her actions on immigration were taken after recommendations from a task force assigned to review the city's immigration policies in response to President Donald Trump. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports an intense wildfire roared unchecked for a second day on Thursday through drought-desiccated timber in Northern California's Shasta Trinity National Forest, threatening scores of homes and forcing the closure of an interstate highway after motorists had to flee their vehicles. The Delta Fire erupted on Wednesday in a canyon along the Sacramento River about 250 miles north of San Francisco, and by Thursday morning had scorched more than 15,000 acres, triple the area that had burned some 12 hours earlier. The blaze was near where the deadly car fire incinerated hundreds of dwellings in and around the towns of Redding over the summer. That fire claimed 8 lives and became one of California's most destructive wildfires on record. No casualties have yet been reported from the Delta Fire, but there were some close calls. On Wednesday, the blaze raced across Interstate 5, forcing motorists to flee on foot before flames engulfed their cars and trucks. Flames posed an immediate threat to roughly 150 homes and other buildings in the sparsely populated region, with about 300 people under mandatory evacuation orders. Farther north, an evacuation warning was in effect for some 1,600 residents to be ready to flee at a moment's notice. The Delta Fire was one of about 15 blazes burning across California this past week. 3 times as much ground has burned in California so far this year than at the same point in 2017, which ranks as one of the most destructive seasons on record. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Well, our own Rebecca Mera takes us on a tour of the Olympic Village.
We have a full-size bed, lounge area, showers, plenty of space, which is great because I'm constantly having sex in there.
The Village is a temporary home to the world's most physically impressive athletic men and women. It was important to the Olympic Committee to give them a comfortable, state-of-the-art area to each other's brains out while they're not competing.
We have a pool where they can have a sex, a theater where they can have a sex. All these athletes are hot, horny, ready to go. They deserve the best.
I was in Vancouver where I got eaten out by this French speed skater. I have to say, these facilities are even better, and I'm going to try to a Japanese guy.
You've spared no expense.
These athletes deserve the best. They sacrifice so much for their countries. They deserve to be able to until their and can't take it anymore.
And these facilities won't go to waste. Once the Olympics are over, they'll be converted to a resort where Russian businessmen can come to their prostitutes.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything right here as we launch into the second hour of the program. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Discord, where the Discord on-air call-in lines are, and you can jump into any one of those rooms, and we'll get on the air with you, and you can talk about whatever you want to discuss. We've been focusing on North Korea. The initial story, Chris, you had brought in about North Korea allegedly having a hacker that hacked the Sony Pictures Entertainment group back in 2014. That made some big headlines when it happened.
Huge.
Huge. It was. Some people were saying it was a cyber attack, that it was a declaration of war against the United States, and like cyber warfare, that kind of thing. Luckily, nobody went to war over it, thank goodness. And it would be interesting to hear, I think, Donald Trump tweet about this particular allegation, right? Because Donald Trump, of course, has been historically fairly critical of mainstream media and Hollywood. So do you think Donald Trump would ultimately just blow this off as, oh, well, they deserved it, like to not really care whether or not North Korea was involved in hacking Sony Pictures Entertainment? And then further, we talked about, and we're still in the middle of the story from Reuters, about North Korea announcing a timeline for denuclearization. Chris, you're skeptical, to say the least, that you're skeptical that not only will the denuclearization happen, but that, if it does, will it be actually hidden away secretly? So even though publicly it may look as though it is denuclearized, but in reality it is not. Of course, you also say you don't trust the United States government to honor their side of the agreement. I
wouldn't trust either sides, and I think in North Korea's position, they're going to need to have a deterrent, and why would they? I don't see. I can't conceive of this being a politically smart move, or not politically maybe, but a strategic move as far as North Korea is concerned.
So I had suggested that, and so you guys are pretty skeptical. I think you said you were pretty skeptical as well.
I'm skeptical that the U.S. government will abide by the treaty, because I'm hard pressed to think of a treaty that they haven't in some way violated.
But what do you think about North Korea's end of it?
From everything I'm reading, it seems as though the North Korean government wants to actually end the Korean War, and the only way to get that to happen at this point is denuclearization.
I tend to side on, believe it or not, even though I am skeptical of governments, I tend to side on the side of optimism. I take these signs that North Korea has engaged in, like ending the propaganda broadcast across the border, like letting out prisoners of war, returning those people to their home countries and families. I see these things as they're significant because they're unprecedented in the history of North Korea. So it's not just talk; it's actually action.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean,
well, it happened. It's action.
What was it? I'm trying to think who it was. Was it Clinton? There was a prior president who I believe went into North Korea and secured the freedom of a religious activist to cross the border.
You're talking about Jimmy Carter.
Was it Jimmy Carter?
I think Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter has gone there a couple of times post-presidency.
But the point that I'm trying to make here is that a lot of this is it's maneuvering, it's strategic maneuvering, and they've played games before, and I don't see why.
They've played games before, that's true, but they haven't ended propaganda broadcasts, which they now have done. They haven't released.
Sure, but what if they really lost? They can always restart those. It's easy to do, and
they changed their time zone back, so they had moved their time zone a half an hour, which is unusual, right? Like usually time zones are off by 1 hour. But they moved their time zone within the last decade just to stick it to South Korea or whatever. Now they've moved back to align with South Korea as far as their time zone. Again, it's symbolic, but
Absolutely
also
symbolic.
fairly significant. Changing your time zone isn't exactly a small thing. I mean, it seems small. It's just
especially in the U.S. where we change time twice a year. What's the big deal about changing a clock?
Well, it is a big deal because
I know it's a big deal.
Into car wrecks and have heart attacks and things like that because of time shifting.
But when you're killing your own people, what difference does it make?
Well, I mean, obviously they're still imprisoning their own people. I don't think that anybody should say for a moment that Kim Jong-un is a good man. He's a person who's in charge of a so-called nation. He is a ruler. He is somebody who absolutely under his watch people have been put to death. There have been innocents, surely, who have been put into these prison camps. Unknown numbers of them. There's no way to audit that because they don't let people in to go look around and talk about things that they see. So there are huge human rights issues with North Korea. None of these changes have solved those problems, but they are initial from the perspective of history, initial unusual and I would say fairly significant symbolic things. Now, we're probably going to see more of that. Trump's latest remarks, according to Reuters, came after South Korean officials said in a meeting with Kim Jong-un this week in Pyongyang, the North Korean leader has given his first timeline for denuclearization in spite of widespread skepticism. According to South Korean officials, Kim said his faith in Trump was unchanged, and he wanted denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula and an end to hostile relations with the United States before Trump's first term ends in early 2021. However, there has been no indication that Kim has offered more concrete steps towards giving up his nuclear weapons, and some U.S. officials privately doubt that he's willing to abandon the arsenal. Both Kim and Trump have stressed their personal relationship since meeting in an unprecedented June 12th summit, which skeptics say was big on fanfare but short on substance. Now, they did have a signed document between both parties indicating an intention to move forward with these things. And so, again, maybe this is just more political dancing. Like, ooh, I've got a timeline. It's going to be in 2 years from now.
I mean, yeah, do you really think that North Korea is going to automatically flip and trust the United States to protect them?
No, of course you don't.
I mean, trust. Sounds
you don't
so
trust the United States. Well, I agree.
Where are they going to get their security from if they have no weapons?
Well,
hold on, they're not giving up all of the weapons.
They can have weapons, just not nuclear weapons.
They have no weapons of significance that would be able to be useful in defending themselves from the United States.
Most countries,
ballistic missiles,
most countries don't have nuclear weapons.
No,
surface to air.
That's true, but most. You're jumping to the conclusion that North Korea has modern weaponry. They haven't been able to get modern weapons. They don't have, there are other countries have a heck of a lot more modern weapons. If you look at North Korea's, traditional weapons to use in self-defense, they're really, really, really old. Right?
I believe that. Like I said, they're stuck in the 50s.
The only thing they've got to defend themselves is a significant army and on horseback. I mean, their army's literally like 1 million strong, but they've got like people on horseback and like with weapons. That's it. Like they don't have anything to defend themselves.
I know, it's hard to understand why this would happen.
To get rid of your nuclear weapons.
The Afghan government also doesn't have all kinds of, super modern weapons. The Taliban doesn't have super modern weapons, but the U.S. government has been fighting a war there for 17 years.
That's a great point.
There's a reason Afghanistan is called the graveyard of empires. Look through history. Every empire that invaded Afghanistan was routed and eventually collapsed.
You're confusing a country with a leader or a leader. The family, okay? Because, I mean, what it is basically is the family is trying to protect themselves, not...
The family?
Yeah, the Kim family, they're trying to protect themselves. Their control over the country, right? Like, it's different than...
But it's still a plot of land where people are going to defend against an invading country.
Yeah,
but what I think Darryl's pointing out is that in Afghanistan, you're talking about a group of cave dwellers who don't even have the level of technology that they do in North Korea.
Well, I mean,
they held off the world's strongest military.
But there's a difference, right? Like they support. They have to have control over their people, and if they don't have control over their people, and they
do have control over their people.
They do right now, but if there
more so in North Korea than they do in Afghanistan, right? Like Afghanistan, it's relatively disparate groups of fighting individuals,
right? And the Taliban controls about half of the landmass. The Afghan government controls most of what the Taliban doesn't.
Whereas in North Korea, you've got a high structured organization that has been in place for decades and has been unchallenged.
True.
For decades. So organizationally, militarily, they're much stronger than Afghanistan, but yet Afghanistan has held off the world's strongest military for, what'd you say, 17 years?
But they've also
more coming up here.
They've also abused the people.
On August 24th, 1992, 20 eager Cardozo law students filed into a small room to kick off the first day of Barry Scheck and Peter Neufield's Innocence Project clinic. After years as public defenders in New York City, Barry and Peter started the clinic to review cases of people in prison who could prove their innocence using DNA testing. What they thought was a few hundred cases turned out to be thousands and a clear sign that the system needed repair. At the time, no one imagined that Barry's and Peter's vision would evolve into a national organization with the power to reform the criminal justice system 26 years later. Since that August day in 1992, there are now 565 Cardozo Law School clinic students trained, and the Innocence Project has celebrated 208 exonerations. They've also worked together to pass over 150 laws in the U.S. to help prevent wrongful convictions. You can support the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in, toll free. Take control of the airwaves, bring up whatever you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And we've also got our Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. So jump in on to those, and you can talk to us about whatever you want. With you in the studio tonight, it's Ian,
Chris,
and Darryl.
As we continue looking at the issue, for those of you just tuning in here, we've been talking about North Korea and the ostensible denuclearization that is supposed to go on and allegedly finish before the end of the Trump administration, or the first term.
Yes.
Because he could be back for a second one. And we've had some disagreement among the co-hosts here in the studio tonight, with Chris Wade from thinkpenguin.com taking the very skeptical approach, basically not even believing that this is going to even happen at all, because you're saying that Kim Jong-un will not want to give up his insurance card, the idea of having a nuclear weapon.
He's not saying that Kim doesn't want to do it. He's saying it's not smart for Kim to do it. Mm-hmm. And what I'm hearing are all kinds of excuses for why we still need something akin to the Cold War.
Who's giving excuses for that?
That's what I'm hearing from Chris. is, if North Korea does this, then this, and basically we need to keep the Cold
I think he's
War
saying
going.
that's what needs to happen. I think he's saying that's what he thinks is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's
Wouldn't you like to see denuclearization? Like, you'd ideally would like to see that happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that would be a bad thing necessarily if people could respect each other's, treaties, or just not invade each other.
But I just don't. Will.
But since the U.S. government has a tendency to invade other countries,
right.
therefore,
I think if you look at the track record of both countries, this just doesn't work.
Which countries have North Korea invaded?
No. I mean,
he's saying the track record of disabusing or breaking agreements.
Right. So North Korea has done a lot of maneuvering over the years in regards to this and other issues, and at the same time, the United States has shown that it can't be trusted not to invade if you get rid of your nuclear weapons.
And as Ian pointed out, Kim Jong-un is not his father and not his grandfather. He
absolutely.
Basically, his tentative years were in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much that actually plays into it.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. You don't know, and we don't know, because we don't know who Kim Jong-un is.
Right, and
we don't know.
There's been the debate going on for, I don't want to say millennia, but, a very long time of what is more important, nature or nurture.
I mean,
what's that have to do with this? Nature or nurture?
It has everything to do with how Kim Jong-un was raised.
Mm-hmm.
So is he going to act more like a European in dealing with other people, or is he going to try to act just the same as his dad and his grandfather?
Yeah, I mean, I think what it comes down to is we're making the assumption, and I think we're incorrectly making the assumption that
he's
prior
rational?
generations. No. I think I would be shocked if he wasn't rational. But the prior generations didn't have interactions with the outside world. I think at the top levels they do have interactions with the outside world. It's
but
the people
not as young people.
Not as young people, and not
that's
as
what's important.
Deep. Not as deep, because it's one thing if you're an executive in the government and part of your job is to have an interaction with some other government executive or whatever,
right,
or a business person in another country, versus actually living for however many years, and I'm sure somebody could probably, dig up his biography and find out how many years he was actually over in Europe living. If you're in college, you're there, right? Like, you're not just, mailing it in. You're living in that culture. You're living in wherever it is you are, and you're absorbing the contacts and, like you're talking about, the environment. You're absorbing the people that are around you and becoming more like them to some extent.
Yeah,
you can't avoid it.
I think, though, what you're forgetting is that people with money, wherever they live, they tend to interact with other people with money, so they don't necessarily have the same interactions that you and I would necessarily have.
Oh, I suspect Kim Jong-un was at a very elite university, but regardless, that's still going to be a very different experience than having money in North Korea. It's a huge gulf from moving from a place where it's 1950 every single year, which is like what North Korea is like.
But that's the thing, is it's not 1950 for him. It's 1950 for the rest of the population.
But it is. Even though, see, what you can't, maybe you're missing here, is even though his lifestyle was very good in North Korea, it's still nothing compared to a rich person's lifestyle in any other, more free country, which is pretty much all of them in the world.
What do you think he's missing in North Korea?
Pretty much everything. Any kind of culture. Right. So, he can watch a TV show. Right, like he can access South Korean television, he can access North American movies, but he doesn't have the immersion into a completely different culture like he would if he were actually in a place where he's surrounded by wealth. I mean, can you imagine getting out of a place like Venezuela?
But you understand that these people, he has access to China. Like, North Korea has been good friends with China, and there's other people in China, and not even necessarily Chinese. I mean, the idea that he is excluded, this family has excluded themselves to North Korea and they've never left the country.
I didn't say that.
But that's kind of
what I said is his life in North Korea is very different. Even though he's wealthy there, it's stunningly different than it would be in any other country in the world where he's surrounded by wealth, where he's surrounded, even though he has wealth, he doesn't have as much wealth as he could have. And maybe Trump has helped him see that. Like, oh, well, you're wealthy now, but if you
other dictators do you know with a nuclear weapon?
I don't know any dictators.
I mean,
personally.
this guy is extremely wealthy. I think he's probably more wealthy than almost anybody else. Any other
in North Korea.
No, I'm talking about around the world. I mean, literally has an entire country under his fingertips.
But it's a country that's stuck in 1950.
How many other dictators have the money to build and develop a nuclear weapon?
Well, they don't have enough money to finish a hotel in Pyongyang.
It's going to military nuclear weapon development.
That doesn't mean you have a good life. If you're surrounded by a bunch of weapons, you don't have a good life. You don't have a bunch of food that you have access to. He has more food and more access to food than the rest of North Korea, but I guarantee you his options are still limited by comparison because the wealth is not there. They don't have a huge array of personal chefs. They don't have a huge array of, chauffeurs and fancy cars. And he can import a fancy car, but there's no industry there.
The people don't. I would agree with you on that one. But
he's a person too.
Him at the top echelons here.
But if you're on the top of a hill of crap, what good does that do you? I don't know what makes you think that life is so great for Kim Jong-un in North Korea.
I mean,
it's not bad.
I mean, do you think this guy doesn't have palaces and lots of them? I mean...
Well, I don't know how many houses that he has, but I don't know how many of them have central air conditioning. I mean, honestly.
Oh, wow. So you think the top of the society in North Korea does not have air conditioning?
I'm not saying what I think about that. I don't know. But I know that everything I've seen is there's almost no wealth in North Korea. There's very little that he can do besides just rule over this population. He has access to things they don't. Yeah. But the poor person in America has more access than rich people do in North Korea. There's more coming up here in moments.
I don't know about that.
Free Talk Live.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Our number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have the Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. There are actually 3 of those rooms. You can jump in and interact there. If you are a liberty-minded person, wherever you are in the world, you can add your thing that you do, or more than one thing, to liberty.menu. It's a tool for the liberty community and exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. You can go to liberty.menu, you can register an account there for free, and get your stuff up there, whatever entrepreneurial activities you're involved in, whatever business. Maybe you are a digital content creator. There's listings for you too, as well as events. Maybe you put together an event, you want to promote that. Go to liberty.menu. It's free to use. You can use some of the upgrades though if you want. Pay a little bit and get higher listings, higher rankings than others on the site. Liberty.menu. Head on over there and get up there. It's free, so why not? Liberty.menu. You can use code FTL and get a special Free Talk Live listener badge.
So, you know how just a couple minutes ago we were talking about the North Korean upper class versus the middle class versus everybody else? Well, I happen to have found a story from the BBC from just a couple of months ago, actually, from April, about North Korea's privileged.
Yeah.
Okay.
The story here is about a man that they're calling Jaden, not his real name, who is a North Korean defector who fled to South Korea 5 years ago. When Jaden first used the internet, he was overwhelmed by what he found. He says, I had access to information that enlightened me. Every day was a surprise to me because I could get completely different perspectives than I'd ever thought about. It made me outraged and sad.
Before you go on with this story, again, all we ever have here are stories from defectors, people who've successfully escaped. Yeah. Now, there was another girl who we read a story from a few months ago who came out of it, and I don't know what her original class was, but it doesn't matter because nobody's allowed to do certain things in North Korea, certainly not publicly.
Right.
And this woman felt so free when she left North Korea because she could wear jeans and do her hair in a different manner than what was approved by the North Korean government. So just
you have one haircut.
Yeah. Well, there's a few. I think there's a few approved haircuts by the dear leader. But ultimately, what I'm trying to point out here, and we're going to hear more from this particular story, is that even though what you're saying might be somewhat true, Chris, in that the wealthier people are obviously wealthy by comparison of the poorer people in the country. I'm saying everybody's poorer, not just because of the things they could own, but the things they're not even allowed to own. They can't even have the most basic of basics, the things that we take for granted. So, they got money, but you still can't spend it on a pair of jeans. You know why? Because, first of all, they're not allowed. Secondly, you'd have to go onto the black market if you wanted to get one of them. And if you're ever seen wearing them, you might go to a prison camp, no matter how
and 3
wealthy
generations of your family.
Yeah. So let's continue with the story.
Only a small number of people managed to actually escape the country, so his successful defection puts him in a privileged minority that mainly consists of young people such as him. He recently finished an English language course in Australia, where he discovered YouTube and a host of online news sites. There were new experiences because North Korea is one of the world's most repressive countries, where basic freedoms, such as accessing foreign media, are severely restricted.
Right, which means your knowledge is severely restricted. Again, even if you're the top echelon of North Korea, it's very rare that you would have any access to outside media.
While he was living in North Korea, however, Jaden frequently defied these constraints and was able to access prohibited entertainment.
Through smuggling.
He says, I spent my spare time playing football and computer games or watching movies. Although there were many restrictions on what could be done, many of the movies and games were illegal. But I did these things on the sly.
Nice.
Unsurprisingly, there's a flourishing black market for foreign entertainment in a country described as an information black hole. James Pearson, co-author of North Korea Confidential, says the most popular pastime for North Koreans is one of our biggest open secrets. Most North Koreans secretly watch foreign media, particularly dramas from South Korea. These shows offer Koreans on both sides of the border an escape from the pressures of daily life, the differences being in North Korea, they are consumed in secret. But not all forms of entertainment have to be enjoyed secretly. In fact, for North Korea's most affluent citizens, the very concept of free time is changing. A report by the Korea Development Institute noted a boom in the construction of shopping malls, sports and cultural centers. It also noted that North Koreans who live in Pyongyang, that's the capital city that you can't pronounce, now have a widening range of places to spend their extra money and spare time. There's a new water park and even a dolphin aquarium, according to Curtis Melvin, a researcher who spent years monitoring satellite images of North Korea and mapping construction sites. He says satellite imagery is perhaps the most thorough way to monitor changes, as we can keep tabs on parts of the country that are not accessible to foreigners. This has allowed us to monitor the growth in North Korean markets, changes in transportation, infrastructure, and the proliferation of renewable energy. We can see and measure these things in a way that is not possible, or rather was not possible, a decade ago. This new technology has given him a fascinating insight into how the life of North Korea is changing. He has recorded an increase in amenities and buildings that are designed, on the surface at least, to bring enjoyment to the North Korean people. He says since Kim Jong-un took over when his father died in late 2011, he has initiated construction and beautification projects that have substantially altered the character of Pyongyang. He has focused on construction projects that purport to raise the standard of living for the people, such as new housing projects, dolphin aquarium, new shopping options, new sports facilities, new amusement parks, water parks, a 3D cinema, and a ski resort. Some of these types of projects are also being rolled out in the provincial capitals and in special cities as well.
Tourism.
How do you know they're open? Have you been?
No. There's North Korea is greatly opened to tourists, not obviously from the U.S., but from other countries. And you can go online, YouTube, and you can find a ton of videos of people going into North Korea and taking these trips and vacations, literally vacations.
So the last
the elite basically are at these. Usually, when these people do these videos, they're at, like, for example, the ski resorts. You will see that it's the elite that are there. So it's not to say that.
So the reason I asked the question was because one of the more recent stories, they talked about some sort of resort that was being built.
Yeah, ski resort probably.
Nope.
Or no, that's already been built. The water park, maybe?
This was like a beach.
No,
resort.
this was a holiday camp.
Yeah, but it was on the
is
beach.
how it was reported by one entity.
And it was in dismal shape. Kim Jong-un went by to tour the facility, and it was just in absolutely crappy condition. It looked like it was, again, stuck in 1950, even though supposedly there was a lot of new construction.
Oh, some of it looked like it was 1979.
Yeah, and it wasn't even operational at that point. So it was one of those things that he'd promised, but of course communism moves real slow, and industry is all state-run, and so it wasn't meeting its deadlines, and it was, already dirty, even though they hadn't even opened, apparently,
Right.
and it was just, it seemed like a real mess. So I question a lot of these
The
facilities.
BBC asked the question, so why has Kim Jong-un decided to construct these leisure facilities? One suggestion is vanity. Andre Abrahamian, a visiting scholar at the Center for Korean Studies at the University of California, Berkeley, says part of it is to modernize Pyongyang and make it more of a 21st century showpiece. The labor is practically free, done by military conscripts, and the materials are mostly domestically sourced, so costs are pretty low.
Right. And you have to remember that whenever, at least according to some documentary crews who've been to Pyongyang, there's an official track. And
Yes.
so they do have an aquarium. They do have some of these things, but essentially they all exist just for the YouTube videos, for the show. You don't actually get to see the life of a real North Korean. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global. Drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Has your body ever gone low blood sugar, feeling weak, shaky, knowing you better eat something fast? We all know high blood sugar can lead to many metabolic problems. At GCNteam.com, we have a healthy blood sugar pack, focusing on the structure and function of stable blood sugar. Find us at GCNteam.com or call 877-878-4203. Nothing feels worse than unstable blood sugar. Call 877-878-4203. That's 877-878-4203.
It's a no-brainer. A Big Berkey water filter is the one you need, period. You need a water filter that removes chlorine, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, BPA, and other endocrine disruptors, pesticides, bacteria, viruses, and much more, right? And does it all at only 2 cents per gallon. Get the original and most trusted name in gravity water filtration, Big Berkey. And now GCN listeners receive 5% off ceramic filter systems using code GCN. Call or click 1-877-99-BERKEY or BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can take control of the airwaves here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. Jump on in there. You can get on the radio with us. We're kind of going through some back and forth here on North Korea. What is life really like? Now, to some extent, we only have to go by what we hear from the people who've escaped. Right. Although there are still people who do go over there and visit. I was just looking up some videos of North Korean traffic because I had said on the air that the streets are mostly empty in North Korea, or in Pyongyang, the capital city. And we've been covering North Korea since well before Kim Jong-un, since Kim Jong-il, so for probably like a decade here on Free Talk Live, or close to it. And so I do remember reading stories and seeing pictures of the just absolutely empty streets in Pyongyang previously. Right. According to Jacka Parker, who's a YouTuber, he's got videos showing what is ostensibly Pyongyang traffic in both 2015 and 2017, and there's a traffic jam.
That's a really long traffic jam.
On 2015, in the 2015 video, there's definitely images here and video of a fairly lengthy traffic jam. And then the 2017 video, it looks like it's a fairly large roundabout that's moving pretty smoothly. That's also described as a traffic jam, but traffic's moving pretty smoothly. The comment made on the video by the video's producer says, let me read it for you here. I took this video while driving around Pyongyang city with my family. The traffic was crowded. Today's traffic in Pyongyang is a lot more different than it was before we first came here in 2012. Today, there's a lot more cars and taxis in Pyongyang. What changed between 2012 and 2015? Kim Jong-il, I believe, passed away.
He passed away in 2011.
Yeah, okay. So in 2011. So you've seen in a 5-year window here, actually in a 3-year window, 2012 to 2015, he says there's a marked increase in the amount of traffic in Pyongyang. And one of the things that we've heard about Kim Jong-un through the grapevine is, and through Link, which is Liberty in North Korea, a group that actually, they sent some of their representatives here to Keene a few years ago and gave a presentation.
Really?
They actually presented over at the Keene Activist Center years ago. They gave a presentation about the jangmadang, which is the Korean word for black market, and black markets, and how effective they are at giving people things that they want in a restricted marketplace. And what they had said was that Kim Jong-un seemed to be leaving these things alone, that there seemed to be an unofficial policy from the Kim Jong-un administration that these black markets were to be tolerated.
It's something that I had heard the former Soviet Union had this same sort of officially these are illegal, but we're not really I don't see anything happening over there.
What black markets?
In that area. What are you talking about? There's nobody over there buying and selling things.
Because look, the reality is, even though as you've pointed out, there are richer people in North Korea, and they certainly have access to a greater selection of products from, say, China than a poor person.
I actually have a number here too, surprisingly, for average gross salary in the capital.
Is it
it's $20,000 apparently?
Average
A year.
salary?
Average gross salary. So yeah, it's
$20,000 in North Korea.
Yeah, that's in the capital.
Pyongyang. Pyongyang
Right.
only.
Still, though,
Right.
that's a lot for a underdeveloped country.
That's what
like
I'm
that.
trying to say. Yeah. Now I don't know.
But again, averages are misleading because
they can be thrown off. By
if
rich
one
people.
person makes $3 million,
right,
and 1,000 people make $100,
right, the average is going to be very high.
Yeah.
So what's the median income? But regardless, my point here is that if indeed it's true, and again, we don't know what's true, we don't live there, but if indeed it's true that the black markets are tolerated, remember, one of the reasons why they're tolerated is because everyone benefits from them.
Right.
If it's illegal to go out and buy a pair of jeans, but they're available in the black market, well, anybody who wants to buy a pair of jeans can now buy a pair of jeans, including the rich girl who, has always wanted to try a pair on since she's seen them on the South Korean television shows.
Right.
Whereas previously, without the black market, that would have been an impossibility. So to some extent, all of the people benefit from the fact, including the government workers, who are getting paid likely more than the average person in Korea. They benefit from these markets existing. And if Kim Jong-un actually believes in having a better life for his people, and that's the question, is he just in it for Kim Jong-un, or does he actually have some desire to see reunification of North and South Korea? Because the history, at least my understanding of it in North Korea, is that there's always been a great amount of talk about bringing the two, North and the South, back together. And of course, the longer they've been separated, the more divergent they've become as far as their cultures. South Korea far more Western influenced than North Korea's culture. So it would be hard for them to just become one again, but there has always been a propaganda, of this is something that the Kims have ostensibly wanted to happen. Now, they've wanted it to happen on their terms, which is to say, to get the United States out of South Korea and have them come back together and probably have the Kims be in charge of the whole country or something like that. But maybe Kim Jong-un is a little more reasonable on what he's willing to accept.
Shall I continue with this article from the BBC? They say income inequality in North Korea is rife, and the economy is mainly geared towards supporting a large military. This means the showpiece projects, such as the water parks, the sports facilities, and that 3D cinema, can only be enjoyed by the wealthy, who are usually living in the large city. As Andre Abrahamian says, Pyongyang's entertainment is only available to the better off. Quote, if you're privileged, you may play squash, take yoga classes, enjoy nice restaurants, including a couple of decent Italian and Japanese spots, sip a cappuccino at a cafe. In a way, being privileged in Pyongyang is like being solidly middle class in a wealthier country.
Okay.
But this middle class, with their appetite for Pyongyang's finer elements, are a relatively new phenomenon. James Pearson says the rise of the Donju, literally the masters of money, has created a new moneyed middle class that has a healthy thirst for consumer goods and spending. This has in turn given rise to more restaurants, bars, and even coffee shops in relatively rural or provincial towns, which had very little before. So to a large extent, the rise in places where North Koreans can spend their money and enjoy themselves is down to a growing middle class. But the gulf in living standards between urban and rural in North Korea remains stark. Pearson says people outside of Pyongyang live in a completely different world. They work hard to make a living with little supporting infrastructure. Farmers still have rigid production quotas to meet. Many don't have access to clean drinking water or reliable electricity. They have standards of living well below people in the capital. And when Jaden, again, not his real name,
This is the escapee who's revealing some of this.
When he thinks back to his time in North Korea, he remembers this wealth divide clearly. He says, I think there's an immense gap. Not many, but some people can enjoy their lives by having dinner at a restaurant or visiting some place. but many people worry about where their next meal comes from. I saw various people in many social statuses, and I realized the rich-poor gap was quite severe.
Well, remember, with again, even if you can go to a restaurant, if you can afford, you're one of the wealthy in Pyongyang, and you can afford to go to a restaurant, you don't have that many compared to other cities from which you can choose.
Right.
Now, what this story is saying, which is surprising, and you said this is fresh news within the last couple of...
April of this year.
Or within the last few months.
Yeah.
It seems like they're saying there's been a market increase in the availability of these things.
Right.
But, so again, until just recently, there hasn't been squat for a choice as far as where you could actually go and spend what little money that you have.
The population was mostly starving.
Until the 1990s, they were starving in the 1990s, and then they added some bailouts that kind of got them through that. And the black market, I think,
even after the population was after the famine, they were still having issues. Food issues,
because communism
security
doesn't
issues.
work.
Right.
Yeah,
and
which makes me wonder about the organization behind these coffee shops that they're describing. Are these run by the state? How I want to know more about exactly how these things can exist, because when I first started learning about North Korea was some of the Vice documentaries,
right?
Where when they took them on the official tour in Pyongyang, it was just like this bizarre.
They had these like show displays.
Right, there was a store that they took them into where there was like one item on the shelf, but no items behind it.
I mean, again, there's propaganda on both sides. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what to believe.
The wealthy in Pyongyang live like someone from the middle class anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's a whole lot more wealth out there for Kim Jong to tap
How well
into.
and how fast does Heart and Body Extract work to improve blood circulation? Listen.
My name is Ellis, and I'm 66 years old, and I live in Jacksonville, Florida. 2 years ago, I was diagnosed as having clogged arteries. I had 70% blockage in one artery leading to my heart. They wanted me to go on Plavix, but I refused, knowing the negative side effects.
Heart and Body Extract is a unique balance, synergy, and proportion of herbs reaching from head to toe at maximum absorption around 95% at the cellular level.
Within the first month, I felt a dramatic difference. The heaviness in my legs was reduced, and within 2 months, I felt completely normal.
Your natural organic herbal formula for heart health is Heart and Body Extract. Heart and Body Extract comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Details at hbextract.com or call 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract. Call 866-295-5305, 866-295-5305 for Heart and Body Extract.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,197 per ounce. Zen is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,441. Antiwar.com reports a day after reiterating his commitment to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has set out a timeline for the process, saying he intends to get the process done by the end of President Trump's first term in office. Kim committed to a denuclearization earlier this year at a summit with South Korea, and a new inter-Korean summit is coming up in mid-September. The next summit is intended to focus on practical measures to advance the process. North Korea is keen to have a peace treaty ending the Korean War as part of this process. The Korean War began in 1950, and the U.S. has been resisting efforts to negotiate a peace treaty, saying the deal needs to wait until after denuclearization. While this has fueled a lot of suspicion, it's also likely a part of Kim's interest in getting the process done before Trump's term ends, as a number of Trump's critics are opposed to diplomacy with North Korea in general and might not be interested in a peace treaty at all, even after North Korea has given up their nuclear program, with a lot of U.S. critics having more or less treated North Korea diplomacy as a dead process, especially after President Trump forbade Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's last visit. Kim seems to clearly hope, between his announcements and the next South Korean summit, to get the momentum back. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms signed an executive order on Thursday that will prevent U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement from holding detainees in the city's jail. The executive order also required that all detainees currently in the Atlanta City Detention Center be transferred out of the facility. Bottoms told reporters Atlanta will no longer be complicit in a policy that intentionally inflicts misery on a vulnerable population without giving any thought to the horrific fallout. As the birthplace of the civil rights movement, we are called to be better than this. It's not yet clear where the detainees will be moved. ICE has 3 other detention facilities in the state of Georgia. The executive order from Bottoms comes after she signed another one in June that prohibits the jail from accepting new ICE detainees. Her actions on immigration were taken after recommendations from a task force assigned to review the city's immigration policies in response to President Donald Trump. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Fueled in the beginning by his unsettling thoughts and emotions, he learns how to find peace with everything he has woken up to. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports an intense wildfire roared unchecked for a second day on Thursday through drought-desiccated timber in Northern California's Shasta Trinity National Forest, threatening scores of homes and forcing the closure of an interstate highway after motorists had to flee their vehicles. The Delta fire erupted on Wednesday in a canyon along the Sacramento River about 250 miles north of San Francisco, and by Thursday morning had scorched more than 15,000 acres, triple the area that had burned some 12 hours earlier. The blaze was near where the deadly car fire incinerated hundreds of dwellings in and around the towns of Redding over the summer. That fire claimed 8 lives and became one of California's most destructive wildfires on record. No casualties have yet been reported from the Delta fire, but there were some close calls. On Wednesday, the blaze raced across Interstate 5, forcing motorists to flee on foot before flames engulfed their cars and trucks. Flames posed an immediate threat to roughly 150 homes and other buildings in the sparsely populated region, with about 300 people under mandatory evacuation orders. Farther north, an evacuation warning was in effect for some 1,600 residents to be ready to flee at a moment's notice. The Delta fire was one of about 15 blazes burning across California this past week. 3 times as much ground has burned in California so far this year than at the same point in 2017, which ranks as one of the most destructive seasons on record. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
I'm getting joined by Ellie Granderson. She's going to put a feminine scope on these lace kerchief starbuggers and give us her lady opinion. Ellie?
Hi, Joe.
You know, it riles me up every time you walk in here, Ellie. You set my blood to dancing with all your pillowy parts.
Oh, stop it, Joe.
Now give it to me, no fimble famble, Ellie. When we start dusting these rocket boys' lily white bottoms with baby puff?
Joe, since the end of the Cold War, NASA has basically functioned as a giveaway to the American aerospace industry, wasting trillions of taxpayer dollars every year on extravagant programs with no tangible benefit.
Finds a plum to look at, all the sense of a badger to boot.
Joe.
Now I've been thinking on, I got these 3 little chickens pecking on my head, will save NASA some coin. Man wants to go to space, can strap on a helmet, climb in the cannon, let the Chinese gunpowder carry him off among the stars. He'll come back now, gonna skin a fox in one throat, and you're gonna fancy on it.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. Just dial on in here toll free to bring up what you want. As we launch here into this, the third hour of the program, we've been talking about North Korea and trying to figure out, a little bit about what life is like based on everything we're hearing from the documentarian crews that have been there, to individuals who have experienced some level of a tourism experience. This guy, Jaka Parker, on YouTube, apparently is actually living in North Korea, and
that's really interesting. You've never heard of anybody living in North Korea.
And at least that's what it said somewhere here. I'll see if I can pull that up. But he's posting videos of traffic in North Korea, in Pyongyang specifically, and he does make statements that the traffic is much heavier in 2015 and 2017 than it was in 2012 when his family first visited. So it does sound as though some sort of extra economic activity has been going on. Darryl, you were reading a story about sort of this burgeoning middle class in Pyongyang that has never really existed up until very, very recent years, which has resulted in a flourishing of smaller shops like coffee shops that you gave an example of, which again flies in the face of some of the older evidence from North Korea, like the old Vice documentaries where Shane, I forget his last name, but one of the producers, the main guys over at Vice, went over there and was, of course, treated to the official track of what you're supposed to be shown when you go to North Korea. You're not supposed to go off the beaten path, so to speak, and there's just these surreal encounters that he has, including one in which he's seated alone in an ostensible, banquet hall.
Right.
Like, we've all been in banquet halls for conventions, right? Where we're sitting in around tables with 8 to 10 people around a large round table, and, there's fancy waiters with their, fancy dishes coming out. So it looked like one of those places. It had the big round tables.
Yeah.
It had all the chairs around the tables, but there was only one person there eating. It was this guy from Vice News. So it's like this bizarre thing. And then there was the store he went into, the ostensible store that he went into, where the products on the shelf were only one product deep. So it was almost as though he were in a movie set or a store, like a front, basically, that wasn't a real store. It was just a thing that they thought looked like a store. So they bring the tourists in there and let them have a little shopping experience as though that's what life is really like in Pyongyang. But maybe there are actually. So the story again now from 2018 here that you were reading is that there are some kind of stores popping up.
Doesn't that come off to you as the North Koreans intentionally creating an environment that they know is going to look fake to everybody else? I mean, it's not like the elite have never been outside of North Korea. We know they have been. So why would they go and create a intentionally looking fake store, basically?
Tell me, what do you think?
I think it's propaganda. It sounds
What's
like
propaganda?
North Korea wanting it to intentionally make it look like they're setting up a fake store. That they're incompetent? That they're incompetent, yeah. It seems like it's the kind of thing that China would do. And it's not like it's never been used. Those tactics have never been used elsewhere. They have been used elsewhere. So.
I don't understand what the benefit would be of that. Like, why would you want...
Hold on. I think I figured it out. So you make people think that you don't have any, goods in your store, so that maybe the U.S. government removes the blockades and the embargoes and other stuff so that people can actually trade with North Korea, and then boom, all of a sudden North Korea becomes the biggest exporter of goods to the entire world or something.
Look,
it sounds like one of these 5-layer deep conspiracy theories.
I don't know.
And at the bottom of the conspiracy, Kim Jong-un rips off his human mask and reveals that he's a lizard and he's the one turning the frogs gay.
I don't know what's the strategic value in doing that kind of thing. But it would seem like a strategic move of some kind.
I don't understand that. It seems like a bizarre theory, but you could be right. Again, it's hard to know what is the truth.
Yeah, I mean, look at what's come out of North Korea. That comes out all the time, like absolutely insane stories. I mean, we get nonstop insane stories coming out of North Korea. Obviously, they have competent people. They have people able to hack into systems, into banks, and all sorts of things. It's not like everybody in North Korea is incompetent. They have different people with skills. Certainly a propaganda department is more capable than this, than what we see coming out of North Korea all the time.
I don't know. Maybe you're giving them too much credit.
I have a hard time believing.
Government,
I have a hard time believing that I'm giving them too much credit, considering that they can billions of dollars have been stolen by North Korea. I mean, they've got a nuclear weapons program that clearly they've been demonstrated are able to actually explode nuclear weapons, because they have. I mean, I don't know, and this is not stuff that comes cheaply. I mean, this is stuff that you do need skilled individuals in order to pull off. The idea that they can't do something as simple as propaganda. I mean, I don't know. I'm just not convinced.
The day starts early in Pyongyang. This story from theguardian.com. By the way, Darryl, was there more from yours that you wanted to?
No, we were done.
The day starts early.
I did post the link on the social medias.
Excellent. Actually, we got callers waiting here. Let's go to the phones and to the fun. Gene, the Christian anarchist, somebody who spent some time in China, is on the line with us here on the Discord call-in line room. Go ahead, Gene. Gene, the Christian anarchist not in China, but somewhere in the world. Are you with us?
He's in the Discord server.
Yeah, he is in the Discord server.
He has uploaded his consciousness to Discord.
We're going to jump over.
He has become one with it.
We're jumping over to Big Loaf, see if he's there. Big Loaf? Wow, we are striking out here. I don't know what's going on. I'm not seeing the little green light around either of those names, so I'm going to presume that means it's both of their problem, but maybe it's our problem. We'll see if we can figure that out during one of the breaks. So here's the story from theguardian.com. The day starts early in Pyongyang. This is from just a few years ago, so still relatively fresh, during the Kim Jong-un administration. The city described by the North Korean government as the, quote, capital of revolution, unquote. Breakfast is usually corn or maize porridge, possibly a boiled egg and sour yogurt, with perhaps powdered milk for children. Then it's time to get ready for work. North Korea has a large working population, approximately 59% of the total in 2010. A growing number of women work in white-collar office jobs. They make up around 90% of workers in light industry and 80% of the rural workforce. Many women are now the major wage earner in the family, though still housewife, mother, and cook, as well as a worker or perhaps a soldier. Makeup is increasingly common in Pyongyang, though it is rarely worn until after college graduation. Chinese-made skin lotions, foundation, eyeliner, and lipstick are available and permissible in the office. Many women suffer from blotchy skin caused by the deteriorating national diet, and so are wearing more makeup. Long hair is common, but untied hair is frowned upon. Men's hairstyles could not be described as radical. In the 1980s, when Kim Jong-il first came to public prominence, his trademark crew cut, known as a speed battle cut, became popular, while the more bouffant style favored by Kim Il-sung and then Kim Jong-il in their later years is also popular. Kim Jong-un's trademark shortened backsides does not appear to have inspired much imitation so far. Hairdressers and barbers are run by the local Convenience Services Management Committee. At many, customers can wash their hair themselves. Fashion is not really an applicable term in North Korea, as the Apparel Research Center under the Clothing Industry Department of the National Light Industry Committee, that's a lot of words, designs most clothing. So centrally designed, centrally produced clothing.
But without the government, who would design the clothes?
However, things have loosened up somewhat, with bright colors now permitted as being in accordance with a, quote, socialist lifestyle, unquote. Pyongyang offers some access to foreign styles. A Japanese watch denotes someone in an influential position. A foreign luxury watch indicates a very senior position. The increasing appearance of Adidas, Disney, and other brands, usually fake, indicates that access to goods smuggled from China is growing. Jeans have at times been fashionable, though risky. Occasionally, they have been banned as decadent, along with long hair on men, which can lead to an arrest and a forced haircut. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. A little bit more about a smidgen of life.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
From the third letter of Captain Mark. The Crown's observation conditions us to be dishonest with ourselves. Therefore, constant surveillance produces a society of constant deception. Honest communication is the seed of civilized conduct. To deny us this seed is to deny us its fruits. But the Crown's primary objective is to stifle free thought itself, to make its subjects incapable of dissent. Seasoned pirates have always encrypted messages and codes and ciphers, so intercepted transmissions were incomprehensible. But today, the Crown possesses advanced tools of pattern recognition that document, profile, and predict our every move. Today, piracy requires hailing frequencies completely invisible to the Crown. We are tired of poltergeists in the static. Looking for a community of like-minded scoundrels, or just want some swag to let the Crown know what you think of it? Join the conversation at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. Dial toll-free. Take control of the airwaves here and bring up whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got Discord and the Discord on-air call-in line room, which we're going to go back to here in just a moment because apparently it was an issue on Big Loaf's side. We'll get right back to him. We'll get his thoughts. We've been talking about North Korea, trying to gather some more information so we can put whatever our various theories are. Well, we'll probably never really know what it's like because we don't live there, but learning a little bit more about North Korea, we've got different ideas about what things are like there based on the things that we've heard in various different media over the years, and we're sharing a little bit more of that here tonight. With you, by the way, in the studio, it's Ian.
And Chris.
And Darryl.
And what sparked the whole conversation is the ostensible plan to denuclearize the North Korean side of that landmass, which is supposed to be moving forward under Kim Jong-un and is supposed to be finished up by the end of the Trump's first term in office. So we'll continue with that discussion. But I do want you to know about anypay.global, and it looks like they're rolling out some changes over at anypay.global.
Yay!
I don't know if they've...
Good changes, right?
Yeah, well, great changes. I don't know if they've officially rolled out across all of AnyPay yet. I just know that I've got the change on my AnyPay install. AnyPay is a way that you can accept cryptocurrency at your point of sale, and it makes it super easy to do this. So you go to anypay.global, get signed up with your username and password, then you put your cryptocurrency wallet addresses into their setup page. You load their app onto your point of sale device. Maybe you've already got a tablet at your cash register. You're halfway done. And when you load the app, you're all the way done. We're talking about a setup process that takes mere moments. If you already have a cryptocurrency wallet, there's really not many other steps you have to go through to get working at the point of sale, accepting Bitcoin, BTC, Dash, Zcash, and others. And so the change that they've made, at least again on my end, and I just noticed this tonight. So like I said, I don't know if this has been fully rolled out. I haven't even had a chance to ask them. But they've made the switcher better. It used to be that in order to switch between currencies at the point of sale with AnyPay, you had to press a button on the screen for however many times you wanted to cycle through. So if you have 3 different cryptos, you got to press the button a couple times to get to the one you're not on. If you got 4 different cryptos, you got to press the button as many as 3 other times to get to the one you're not on. Here, you just press the button and then you select from a menu which one that you want. And so they've improved the user access, the user flow, and they're always making things better over there at AnyPay, and they do great work, and it makes it super easy to accept crypto. So you should try it out over at anypay.global. Oh yeah, and it's free to go and get signed up and accept crypto through AnyPay. So really, you've got nothing to lose. Anypay.global. As we continue here, let's go to Big Loaf. He is on the line in North Carolina on the Discord on-air call-in line room. Go ahead, Big Loaf.
Good evening, gentlemen, and happy Friday. Hopefully the audio is working fine now.
You sound fine. Go ahead.
All right, cool. So I was calling about the Elon Musk interview with Joe Rogan. Have any of y'all seen that?
No.
I don't watch Joe Rogan, so no.
No, I don't know why anybody would care. What's going on with the interview?
There was a lot of people that were butthurt. Evidently, the Air Force is now looking into their contract with SpaceX, all because Elon Musk smoked a plant live on camera.
I did see a headline that apparently he, quote, smoked a blunt for the first time.
Yeah, and it was a fatty, dude. I was actually sort of kind of surprised. And I'm not buying the whole notion that it was his first time because he was Like, he was puffing mad clouds. I don't know, man. But it was sort of kind of impressive, and I couldn't help but think the whole time. So, is this not the second example where we could say that whole "if you smoke weed, you'll never amount to anything" argument?
Yeah, great point. Like, what was the first time Michael Phelps?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the first time was Bill Clinton, who smoked but didn't inhale.
Right.
Barack Obama admitted to having smoked it.
George Bush did too,
of times.
I think. George Bush did. That's what.
Yeah, and I think it was even more interesting that the social network I got this news on first thing this morning was Mastodon. Right. So
nice.
Live with the breaking news, learning about this on Mastodon, and honestly, it was a really good interview. It was a little bit awkward until they started passing around the blunt, and then all of a sudden Elon just opened on up, and they ended the show talking about the peace and harmony amongst men, right? Just to go,
how about that?
Show it really is the peaceful leaf. So anyways, yeah, go check it out. I thought it was really
interesting. That's a cool story. I appreciate the heads up. Anything else you want to share tonight?
That's it, gentlemen. Y'all have a good weekend.
Thank you, Big Loaf. Let's continue here. Gene, the Christian Anarchist, has remedied his audio, so we're on with him now. Go ahead, Gene. Gene? I hear him clicking on a mouse in the background there.
I also hear us like 10 seconds later.
Here you go.
Yeah.
You're on.
Oh, good. Yeah. I wanted to talk about North Korea.
Go ahead.
Please.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, because there's a YouTube channel, and I was just watching it, actually. Jaka Parker, Jaka.
Yep.
Yeah, Ian had mentioned a couple of those videos where there were some traffic videos where he compared like 2015 to 2017 or 2012, 2015.
Yeah, I don't know if there's videos from 2012. I haven't gone that far back in his channel, but his statement on the videos is that there's much more traffic in 2015 and 2017 than there is in 2012. That said, there is a video from 2017 where it's still pretty dead on a major street with like 6 lanes in one direction, where there's really only a spattering of cars in the middle of the daytime in Pyongyang. So even though it's up from what it was, it's still pretty empty in a lot of cases. But go ahead, Gene, with your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I've been watching his channel for a while because one of the things I've always wanted to do is go to North Korea when I'm in China sometime, and one of these days maybe I will. But I find North Korea fascinating, as I found China fascinating 24 years ago or 25 years ago when I first went there. And it looks to me like watching this guy's videos that North Korea is very similar to what China was 25 years ago, because this Jaka guy, he's actually got a car, drives around Pyongyang, which I find pretty amazing. So I'm not exactly sure what his job is there, but he's obviously a foreigner who's working in Pyongyang, and his wife and his child live with them. I don't know.
I mean, that's the fact that there would be a man with a video camera allowed to just mill about and live in Pyongyang seems to fly in the face of all of the control that they had put on visitors there previously.
Again, what about propaganda?
Yeah.
Well, right. Are you saying that this guy is a propaganda agent from North Korea?
Most likely.
There's a very good chance of that.
Everybody's a propaganda agent now.
There's a possibility, but it's also possible.
But he's in a real store right here. I'm watching it happen, and it's more than just one product on the shelf in this store. This actually looks like a real store.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that the propaganda is real on both sides. It's not as bad. I mean, a lot of what we hear about North Korea isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of what we hear about China isn't true. Like, I know because I've been there. So
I want you to continue here. Stand by, Gene. We're going to bring you back. Gene, the Christian Anarchist. He's been to China multiple times. Has called us from China to talk about his experiences there. And yeah, this video here from August of 2016. The Privileged Store in North Korea is what it's called. There's more on the way here. 855-450 free. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
When you use public Wi-Fi, hackers and identity thieves can see anything you do online. Embarrassing photos, your web history, even your passwords. That's why I use private internet access to encrypt my internet connection for less than 10 cents a day. Sign up now at privateinternetaccess.com, and in just a few minutes, you'll be browsing anonymously and only sharing what you want to share. privateinternetaccess.com. It's time to protect your online privacy.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
My fellow sheep, election season is upon us. Are you one of the 12% of Americans who still approves of our government? Then we need your help to force the other 88% into compliance. Our democracy depends on it. We're an organization called Citizens Against Too Much Unfettered Freedom, or CATMUF. CATMUF is a bipartisan flock of sheep whose goal is expanding government until nothing else remains. Because the government is here to help you. How can you help CATMUF help you? By only voting for candidates dedicated to expanding government. It's easy. You don't need to study the issues. No matter what a politician says when running for office, they're all dedicated to expanding government. And make sure you tell all your friends and family to vote for more government. Here at CATMUF, we don't care if you vote Democrat or Republican, as long as you vote for candidates committed to growing our federal family. CATMUF. Because folks just aren't smart enough to handle real freedom.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You may dial in toll-free, take control of the airwaves here at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got our Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. That's where our callers have been so far this hour. You're welcome to join us wherever it is that works best for you. But Discord sounds great, and it's easy to use, so head over to discord.lrn.fm, and you can interact with us on the radio through that method. You can also interact with other Free Talk Live listeners. So you want to talk to Gene the Christian Anarchist? He's hanging out in there, I don't know, pretty much every night it seems like. He's one of the regulars over on our Discord, and we're going to get back to his call here in just a moment. As we've been discussing North Korea and sort of the mythology, what's the truth? As Gene has pointed out, there's propaganda on both sides. Is North Korea this hermit kingdom where everybody's living in abject poverty, or is there another side to it that isn't usually shown? In one of the videos here at Jaka Parker's channel, So this is the video of the street, which I was describing earlier in 2017, where it's like, it looks like at least 6, maybe 7 or 8 lanes. It's a wide street, and there's almost no traffic. And I'm talking about in one direction, I think. There's almost no traffic, and this is in the middle of the daytime. I guess the description of the video says, I was just finished shopping at one of the traditional markets called Tunggil Market. In this market, we are strictly forbidden to take photos or record videos. So he calls this a traditional market. Maybe that's more of a standard market in which people are shopping. I don't know if that means it's a black market or not, but you're not allowed to video record the traditional market, but he was allowed to video record the upper scale market that he was shopping in.
The no video allowed in the traditional market reminds me of that policy that they have in Venezuela, where you're not allowed to take pictures of the lines outside of the stores.
Yeah, that's
You're
true.
not allowed to take pictures of the empty shelves inside the stores.
Correct. CryptoTip.org is where you can go to get a really useful tool for spreading cryptocurrency. You go to CryptoTip.org and you can print out business card-sized tips that you can leave as a tip in addition to, I would say, a good cash tip. You want to leave one of these on top of that to introduce, say, your server or your barber or your cab driver or whoever to cryptocurrency. It's a way that respects your prospects' time because you know these are busy people. You probably, if you're in a restaurant, you don't have, 15 minutes to give them a treatise about cryptocurrency.
Right.
You just leave this, and then when they get a chance, when they're on break or after they get off work, they can take a look and redeem that into their cryptocurrency wallet, and it gives them instructions on how to set that up and everything. Plus, if they don't redeem it, then you get your crypto back at the expiration date. It works with Dash, and it also now works with Bitcoin Cash. So go and check it out for yourself over at CryptoTip.org. Once again, we go back to Gene, the Christian Anarchist, on our Discord call-in line. So, Gene, you were talking about China, your experiences over there, and you were going somewhere with it. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the point I'm trying to make through all of these observations that I've made is that the people of North Korea, in what I've seen from these videos and other videos, seem to be in a similar situation than China 24 years ago when I first went there, in that things were turning around, starting to look better. Of course, in China, we see how much better it's gotten in the last 25 years. It's not even recognizable as to what it was 25 years ago. And North Korea seems to be in a similar situation right now where they are kind of opening up and starting to deal with South Korea. And I think probably, the worst thing that our government would hate to see is actual peace breakout between the two, which I think might happen if we would get out of the way. I think that possibly they could become peaceful again. But what I'm saying is people are just people, and they're struggling, and they're trying to provide for their families. And really, that's all it is. That's what I found. When I first went to China, I thought, when I get there, I'm going to have the secret police following me all over, and I won't be able to do anything. And, if I say the wrong thing, I might get thrown in a gulag.
Yeah.
And it wasn't anything like that. Not at all. It wasn't even close to that. And I think that in North Korea, also, if you keep your nose clean, that's why I would like to go there. I'd like to go see it. I think if you just kind of stay out of the way, they're probably going to leave you alone, because for the most part, they don't like to deal with foreigners. They just want to ignore you and just this guy's walking around with a GoPro strapped on his chest on some of these videos. Now, he is in the foreigner section of Pyongyang, but he has a car and he drives around Pyongyang.
Right.
So
that's what's amazing to me is that, again, seeing the documentaries that I've seen over the years, this seems, very unusual, but then again, maybe not so much. There's a whole article that I found over at, where did it go? Well, I had it somewhere here. Guardian, The Guardian again. This one from 2015, October of 2015, and it's got sort of summaries from multiple different people who had lived in Pyongyang at different times as to what their life was like when they were there. Again, not natives of that place.
Well, another point I'd like to make is that all governments oppress their people. Our government oppresses us. The North Korean government oppresses them. The Chinese government oppresses those people. The people are always struggling against the oppression that they have. Now, levels of oppression obviously differ. We have a few freedoms here yet, that they don't have over there. We still supposedly have a right to keep and bear arms. However, that's going away by the second, because they've simply, through the 1968 Gun Control Act, they've managed to start putting a very, very large portion of the population into the prohibited category, where you're prohibited from owning a gun. If you have something as simple as shoplifting these days, they can stick you in that category where it says you can't keep and bear arms. So and that all came about through the 68 Gun Control Act. But the point I'm getting at is we're going towards tyranny here. And it's kind of almost a study in what we're about to become when I go to China, or if I ever make it to North Korea, because that's where I see us heading. They seem to be coming up out of that, and we seem to be heading down into it. It's almost like a teeter-totter. They're going up and we're going down, and I don't like what I see on this side of the teeter-totter.
Yeah, I hear you. Gene, thanks for your analysis. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. That's Gene, the Christian anarchist, there over in our Discord chat rooms, the on-air call-in line rooms. The toll-free number here tonight is 855-450-FREE. We're kind of sharing some slices of life out of North Korea. This story from 2014 in The Guardian to continue. They were discussing the haircuts, the approved clothing. Jeans were disallowed. They were called decadent by it was the Apparel Research Center under the Clothing Industry Department of the National Light Industry Committee that designs and approves the clothing that's allowed in North Korea. One daily ritual, says The Guardian, of all North Koreans is making sure they have their Kim Il-sung badge attached to their lapel. Now remember, Kim Il-sung is the grandfather of Kim Jong-un. He's been dead for a couple of decades now. And yet he's still
the official head of state.
He's still the president of North Korea, and apparently you have to wear his face on your clothing when you go outside of your home. And he also has to loom over the inside of your home. I believe you have to have a photograph of Kim Il-sung and his son Kim Jong-il in at least one room of your house.
I wonder if that has something to do with designating ownership, like somebody owning you.
It certainly is something that
psychologically,
is creepy.
Isn't
that they're looking over that daddy, Daddy Kim Il-sung or Granddaddy Kim Il-sung is looking over every household in North Korea. The badges have been in circulation since the late 1960s, when the Mansudae Art Studio started producing them for party cadres. Desirable ones can change hands on the black market for several hundred NKW in a city where people rarely carry cash, jewelry, or credit cards because they don't have it. Kim badges are one of the most prized targets of Pyongyang's pickpockets. Most streets are boulevards of utilitarian high-rise blocks. Those who live on higher floors may have to set out for work or school a little earlier than those lower down. Due to chronic power cuts, many elevators work only intermittently, if at all. So why would you even take the elevator? Because it could go out while you're in the elevator, and then you'd be stuck.
That would be bad.
More coming up here in moments. And let me tell you, I guarantee you, no matter what your wealth, it's a good chance you don't have a generator in North Korea. There's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
It's been said, Any society is only 3 missed meals away from chaos. Those times may be near. Think about it. Our country faces multiple terrorist threats and aggressions from Russia and North Korea. Social unrest and violent marches yet again may lead to looting of stores and city shutdowns. And our crumbling infrastructure leaves our power grid vulnerable to long-term outages from a single cyber attack. When the chaos from any one of these threats arises, the government knows it can't provide during a widespread national emergency. That's why you need your own plan for self-reliance. That's where My Patriot Supply comes in. Get a 4-week survival food supply for only $99. That includes breakfast, lunches, and dinners. Order online at preparewithgcn.com. $99 for 4 weeks of survival food that tastes like homemade cooking and lasts up to 25 years from My Patriot Supply. Get your kits today at preparewithgcn.com. Free shipping is included. Preparewithgcn.com.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love,
and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way,
love as your guide,
and liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's fff@fff.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Moments remain here. Enough time for you if you want to join us right now. Our number is 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. Chris, who is one of our co-hosts here in the studio tonight, is also one of the proprietors over at thinkpenguin.com, which is a website at which you can get computer parts. I guess not really parts, but full-on computers. Darryl, you are sitting in front of, right now, a Think Penguin brand computer.
Yes.
In fact, it's even got the Penguin logo on it.
It does.
Which is pretty cool.
It's better than like the Dell logo or the Microshaft logo.
It's way cuter. And it's got the backlit keyboard, which I really like, and all kinds of features. You did some upgrades when you went to thinkpenguin.com, so it wasn't the basic level one. You popped in, what'd you pop in there? Some extra RAM?
I think I've got 16 gig of RAM, 1 terabyte hard drive.
Oh, nice.
And what did it come loaded with as far as an operating system? What did you get?
Ubuntu.
1804. Do you guys always do Ubuntu, or is there like a choice with that?
You get to enter whatever you want, pretty much.
That's pretty sweet.
The systems are designed for free software, so it doesn't matter what you want. It should work with it. If it's not an up-to-date release of a particular distribution, you might have to wait, but it will eventually support it.
And so, happy with it so far? I mean, I know that the one you had was getting pretty old. So was it like being in a whole new world of computing
the one that I had was a refurb to begin with.
Yeah.
And then I wound up, because even though when I bought it off of eBay, it said that it was a Linux machine, it actually had Windows, and so then I had to install Linux, but some of the drivers were things that Linux doesn't really work well with. So yeah, this is much better. I've not had any problems with any freezing. Again, I've got 16 gig of RAM on this. The other one, I think I had like 4.
Yeah, that's a huge step up. So a satisfied customer. They've got some other cool stuff like VPN routers and other neat products over at thinkpenguin.com, all focused around privacy, focused around open source free software. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all sorts of we have printers and Wi-Fi cards and all sorts of parts and accessories that you might need for your systems as well.
Good to know. Head on over to thinkpenguin.com. Check him out there. We're sharing, and there's just so much about North Korea that I think is interesting to share. Just during the break, I was reading some excerpts from a piece on express.co.uk about another escapee from North Korea. This person escaped from the elite. So even though they were living the privileged elite lifestyle, whatever that is, in Pyongyang, they wanted out too. This person, the 26-year-old in this case, whose name is being withheld for safety reasons, described their experience there as, in a lot of cases, brutal, being forced to watch brutal public executions, like a group of musicians who were accused of making a pornographic video. They were executed by strapping them to the front of anti-aircraft guns. So imagine a human body strapped on the front end of a barrel of an anti-aircraft gun, and then they fire it. And so they were forced to watch that as, quote, the musicians just disappeared each time the guns were fired into them. Their bodies were blown to bits, totally destroyed, blood and bits flying everywhere. And then after that, military tanks moved in and ran over the bits on the ground where the remains lay. The executions took place shortly after Kim Jong-un took control of the country following the death of his father. Further, they said here that even though she was raised to believe that the Korean despot was godlike, turns out that she saw his cruelty close up as teenage friends of hers were plucked out of class to work as sex slaves in his houses. Quote, officials came to our schools and picked out teenage girls to work in one of his hundreds, supposedly, of homes around Pyongyang. So she says it was absolutely terrifying to live even as a privileged individual. Now, to go back to the Guardian story where they're just talking about life in Pyongyang. This is from back in 2014. Talking about how the buildings in some cases are 20 to 40 stories tall, and there are stories of old people who've never been able to leave. Even in the better blocks, elevators can be sporadic, so people just don't take the chance. You don't want the elevator to go out while you're in the middle of floors simply because of a power outage, which are common. They're described as chronic here in the story. So families make great efforts to relocate their older relatives on lower floors. Because again, if you don't want to take the elevator, you got to take the stairs. And if you're elderly and you're taking the stairs, that's a pretty tough process.
Yeah.
So they have to bribe, in some cases, officials in order to get their elderly parents into the lower floored house or apartments. With food shortages constant, this is again 2014, many older people share their meager rations with their grandchildren, weakening themselves further and making the prospect of climbing stairs even more daunting. Some people do drive to work, but congestion isn't a major problem. Despite the relative lack of cars, police enforce traffic regulations strictly and issue tickets. Fines can be equivalent to 2 weeks of salary. Most cars belong to state organizations, but are often used as if they were privately owned. All vehicles entering Pyongyang must be clean. Owners of dirty cars may be fined. Those traveling outside of Pyongyang require a travel certificate. You mentioned this earlier, Darryl. If you don't have your travel certificate, you don't get to go anywhere else.
Yep.
There are a few driving regulations, however. On hills, ascending vehicles have the right-of-way, and trucks cannot pass passenger cars under any circumstances. Drunk driving is punished with hard labor. Smoking while driving is also banned on the grounds that a smoking driver cannot smell a problem with the car. Those who have a bicycle usually own a seagull, unless they are a privileged person and then own an imported secondhand Japanese bicycle. But even a seagull costs several months' wages and requires savings. 7:30 in the morning. For many North Koreans, the day starts with a 30-minute reading session and exercises before work begins. The reading includes receiving instructions and studying the daily editorial in the party papers. Remember, it's all state-run media there in North Korea.
So, Seagull appears to be some kind of electric bike.
Ah, okay.
Which would explain the high cost there.
This is followed by directives on daily tasks and official announcements. For children, the school day starts with exercises to a medley of populous songs before a session of marching on the spot and saluting the image of the leader. The curriculum is based on Kim Il-sung's 1977 Thesis on Socialist Education, emphasizing the political role of education in developing revolutionary spirit. All children study Kim Il-sung's life closely. Learning to read means learning to read about Kim Il-sung. Music class involves singing patriotic songs. Rote learning and memorizing political tracts is integral and can bring good marks, which help in getting into university. Although social rank is a more reliable determinant of college admission, after graduation the state decides where graduates will work. At 8 a.m., work begins. Pyongyang is the center of the country's white-collar workforce, though Pyongyang office would appear remarkably sparse to many outsiders. Banks, industrial enterprises, and businesses operate almost wholly without computers, photocopiers, and modern office technology. Payrolls and accounting are done by hand. At noon, factories, offices, and workplaces break for a lunch hour. Many workers are bringing a packaged lunch, or if they live close by, go home to eat. Larger workplaces have a canteen serving cheap lunches such as corn soup, corn cake, and porridge. This sounds like the food of a very poor person.
Yes.
The policy of eating in a work canteen combined with the lack of food shops and restaurants means Pyongyang remains strangely empty during the working day, with no busy lunchtime period as seen in other cities around the world. Shopping is an as and when activity. If a shop has stock, then returning later is not an option, as it will be sold out. According to defectors, North Koreans want, quote, 5 chests and 7 appliances. The chests are a quilt chest, wardrobe, bookshelf, cupboard, and shoe closet, while the appliances comprise a TV, refrigerator, washing machine, electric fan, sewing machine, tape recorder, and a camera. Remember, this is what North Koreans want, not what they actually have. Most ordinary people only have a couple of appliances, usually a television and a sewing machine. And of course, what are they legally allowed to watch on the television? Well, state propaganda. Food shopping is equally problematic. Staples such as soy sauce, soybean paste, salt, oil, as well as toothpaste, soap, underwear, and shoes sell out fast. The range of food items available is highly restricted. White cabbage, cucumber, and tomato are the most common. Meat is rare, and eggs increasingly so. Fruit is largely confined to apples and pears. The main staple of the North Korean diet is rice, although bread is sometimes available, accompanied by a form of butter that is often rancid. Corn, maize, and mushrooms also appear sometimes. There's a little bit more here to the story. I'm going to post it up on our social media. You can follow our Mastodon account over at toot.freetalklive.com. I'm on there. Chris, you're on Mastodon as well. Darryl, you signed up, but you don't really do anything with it. You only signed up because we asked you to for technical purposes.
Right.
So you can't really find Darryl there. But there's more here, and I'll post it over at toot.freetalklive.com. You'll also find it on our Twitter and Facebook if you're still over there. The last part, it goes through 8 p.m. and then 10 p.m. 10 p.m., most people are in bed. The scarcity of cars, early nights, and the absence of entertainment values and electricity shortages means that by midnight, Pyongyang is effectively a ghost city. Go try finding a ghost city as big as Pyongyang anywhere else in the world.
China.
We'll continue here tomorrow. You can join us at freetalklive.com. Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com. The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
The latest episode of The Torchwood Report is next, after the news, on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire at the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Friday, September 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.19 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,197 per ounce. Zen is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,441. Antiwar.com reports a day after reiterating his commitment to the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has set out a timeline for the process, saying he intends to get the process done by the end of President Trump's first term in office. Kim committed to a denuclearization earlier this year at a summit with South Korea, and a new inter-Korean summit is coming up in mid-September. The next summit is intended to focus on practical measures to advance the process. North Korea is keen to have a peace treaty ending the Korean War as part of this process. The Korean War began in 1950, and the U.S. has been resisting efforts to negotiate a peace treaty, saying the deal needs to wait until after denuclearization. While this has fueled a lot of suspicion, it's also likely a part of Kim's interest in getting the process done before Trump's term ends, as a number of Trump's critics are opposed to diplomacy with North Korea in general and might not be interested in a peace treaty at all, even after North Korea has given up their nuclear program, with a lot of U.S. critics having more or less treated North Korea diplomacy as a dead process, especially after President Trump forbade Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's last visit. Kim seems to clearly hope between his announcements and the next South Korean summit to get the momentum back. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. UPI reports Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms signed an executive order on Thursday that will prevent U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement from holding detainees in the city's jail. The executive order also required that all detainees currently in the Atlanta City Detention Center be transferred out of the facility. Bottoms told reporters Atlanta will no longer be complicit in a policy that intentionally inflicts misery on a vulnerable population without giving any thought to the horrific fallout. As the birthplace of the civil rights movement, we are called to be better than this. It's not yet clear where the detainees will be moved. ICE has 3 other detention facilities in the state of Georgia. The executive order from Bottoms comes after she signed another one in June that prohibits the jail from accepting new ICE detainees. Her actions on immigration were taken after recommendations from a task force assigned to review the city's immigration policies in response to President Donald Trump. Born into a devastating world and raised